What's up, guys? We're back with Iron Bros episode 10, and today we have a very special guest. I think a lot of you know who he might be, but we'll let him do a little introduction of himself. And to our knowledge, this might be the first time you guys have seen him on a podcast.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? So I'm Lexx Little. Yeah, this is my first podcast. It's good that it's with Anthony because I feel like a lot of people that have asked me to do a podcast with them, I'm either like, who are you? Or I'm just not comfortable enough doing it. So it's good that Anthony asked.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's nothing. I don't think it's any legit podcast. At least is what I think. I'm like, we're kind of just rolling with it. People say they enjoy it, so it's like we keep them rolling. But yeah, dude, we've been friends for a long time, so it's pretty cool to have you on here. And if you're your first one, we're taking your podcast virginity away. Kyle, do you know much about Lexx?
I can't honestly say I do. I try to do a little bit of research, as I did with any of your friends I'm aware of. But no, I don't know too much, other than I know you're into powerlifting, you're strong, and then you made quite the name for yourself.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah. So back when I first started training, right away, I was kind of introduced to like the squat, bench, deadlift aspect of it, like the powerlifting part, because a lot of people just train, but they don't incorporate the compounds, which is fine. But for me, it was like the most fun thing to me right away because I just felt like there was no way I could push it like that. So yeah, when I was like 17, I squatted 500 pounds, like high bar at like 184 pounds, which I think is low key my most impressive lift. But yeah, I got into it like super early on, and it's not only until like probably like a year and a half ago where I started taking like, because you're gonna build muscle even if you are training. Because I'm doing still accessories. I'm not just training powerlifting. At times I have, but I'm still gonna build a good foundation through that. But not until like a year and a half ago, I started like taking like the bodybuilding workouts like a lot more serious. And honestly, today was like my first day back on the powerlifting part. I did like pretty much strictly bodybuilding workouts for like a year and a half.
I guess one thing I definitely would want to ask is a lot of people year round, obviously, you see they might have had the same background, the powerlifting, and now they're doing bodybuilding and actually getting to stage. Do you ever see yourself wanting to do that?
So honestly, the closest relation I can have to somebody stepping on stage that I know is like Max. Did you see that? Like Max Taylor. I seen him step on stage, and honestly, like I was already like not really with the thought of like going on stage, and after Max, it kind of turned me off even a little more. Like I think Max looked phenomenal. It has nothing to do with him in particular, but we're around like the same height, same weight, and we're both natural. So I just feel like seeing him, just how much, like, for example, like post-show for Max, he's having like a hard time managing his body composition. Also, I heard that he couldn't get erections like a month out and stuff like that. And I remember like a year and a half ago maybe, or like something, I was around the lowest I've gotten in years. It was like 180 pounds. I was a little bit smaller back then because this was like, I went from like power building to just like cutting on accident. I just like, to be honest, I learned how to make chicken like literally like a year and a half ago. And when I learned how to make chicken, like I just started just eating like a bunch of food at home. And then I just naturally started to lose weight. And I remember like my shit was getting like 80, 90%, and I'm like, what's going on? So that kind of freaked me out. And then I just stopped.
80, 90% of what?
Wiener hardness.
So you noticed like a decline in like
erection. So what I'm saying is like I couldn't even imagine being as lean as like Max was. And I don't know, I just don't really want to deal with like the repercussions of that. I think like getting lean is like really cool, obviously, but also I think like my physique and body composition is very healthy for me. And like when I look in the mirror, like I don't feel like I look bad. Even like I'm 200 pounds right now. I woke up at 199.1 today. And I think I would almost look like more aesthetic if I lost like 10 pounds versus like 20 or 25, So I don't know. I feel like for me, bro, if I were to compete, I just want to, like, if I wanted to compete, which I don't even really want to at all. But if I, for some reason, had the urge to come over me, like, I need to compete, I feel like I'd be ready to just take something because it's just like, I don't want to deal with all that, And also it's just like, you lose so much muscle and like, ugh. Like natty bodybuilding is kind of like, I don't know.
Now, I know you obviously like something for a long time, and now we're on the topic of fear. Would you ever take anything?
I've been seeing stuff about like L-carnitine on like social media recently, and I thought about doing that.
Injectable L-carnitine or oral?
Like probably injectable, but I'm probably not gonna end up doing it. If I did, I would say something. But I mean, it's just more. It's not like as deep as I'm making it seem. I just seen it and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Ready for this? I'm gonna convince you. So hear me out. I do take injectable L-carnitine right now, and I used to take it in a couple of my like pushes, like my cycles, and I've experimented with oral L-carnitine, and I've noticed L-carnitine injectable form way better. I even listened to Derek, right? He said like 4.5 grams oral is like 500 milligrams injectable. And I just didn't see the same result. So whenever I take it on cycle, my body composition, I will be leaner, I'd be tighter, and I get better pumps in the gym when I take it pre-workout. There is something I read that carbs and the L-carnitine just gives like a better pump. I forget what it is, like the scientific research, but I do notice myself better pumps, better body composition, and I'm stronger. It's just like everything's more enhanced. And I stopped it actually because it's annoying as fuck to pin. I stopped it probably for like a month, and I saw my physique kind of declining, and I just hopped back into the gym after my gyno surgery. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I hopped back on, and I got leaner, and I started progressing more. So it's something I like to take, and I do take it, and I got to actually take it today. So I want to take it.
So, I mean, I asked Eric, and he said it's as like natural as taking like creatine. Yeah, because it's just
found in red meat. It's just very hard to get
the
quantity of it through red meat and other food
and a lot of people
sources.
think I'm scared of needles, which is like true, but it's only when the needle goes into my vein. Like I've gotten it shots like in my back or my shoulder, you know, flu shot, whatever, and like I'm not scared of like needles or like getting a shot. I'm just scared. Like I don't know. I'm not even really scared.
So like
I just freak out when it goes in my vein, dude. It like freaks me out.
Well, you won't. So what happens? Like here's an education story for you. So when you pin something, right, you choose the muscle you pin. There's like typical muscles: glute, shoulder, rear delt, lat. So typical things like a shoulder, right? I like to do L-carnitine in my shoulder just because it's fucking easy and it absorbs pretty quick. You do it in your side delt. I'm not going to get into details, but it's pretty easy. You don't really hit a vein. You aspirate, make sure there's no blood, and you're good.
Yeah. But I mean, to be honest though, like, I mean, I don't know if I'll even take that, but like if I do, then
that would be what you would take. Nothing hormonal.
No, because the older I get, because I'm 22 now, but you know, that is young, but I've been doing, you know, fitness very long time. I've started posting YouTube videos when I was 16. So it's been 6 years of doing it. And the older I get, you know, I feel like my content and my brand and me as a person, you know, like I feel like I've grown and came so far without doing anything that at this point it would just be like the only reason I would take it would be for like an egotistical reason because honestly, like I'm not even really frustrated at how far I've came or my physique. Like I think I look like
good.
I think I look good. I don't really have like body dysmorphia like I did when I stood next to Joe Aesthetics when he was in my garage, but you know,
rest in peace. Yeah,
he was goated, but.
Oh shit! What the fuck is that,
dude? That's why I told you to close the garage door.
It was 95 degrees in here before.
Dude, no, we gotta close it.
I'm not closing it, Lex.
Dude, this thing's gonna eat us, dude.
He's chilling up there. I don't know, big ass bug. Holy shit! All right. So basically, what I'm getting at, your brand, your whole self, you've been natural. People praise you being natural, which is great. You have no issues with your physique. You're happy with it. Life's good. No reason to take it, which is great. Fine, never take it. Good.
And to be honest, stay away. The whole natural or not thing with like anybody, like I don't really particularly care about whatsoever at all. Like, because I just feel like when I was growing up, like, you know, whether it be somebody that I know isn't natural now or was lying, or whether it's somebody that is still claiming natural and might not be, whatever, I would honestly rather look at somebody's physique that's claiming natural and just take the best I can from it, because I was chasing physiques that were, you know, what I thought, or not even what I thought, but I would chase physiques that everyone would say like is unattainable, but for me, like that was motivating. Like I wanted to, I
reach that level.
I rather live in like a fairy tale and think that I can achieve those things because I think it's gonna push me further.
Can I have an example?
No, don't do that. That's fucked.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So,
I definitely.
guess,
go ahead.
At any point growing up, so when you said you got into it at 16, right? Super young for sure, even for people today. But even when you're 18, perhaps hitting, you know, early adulthood in terms of really having a mature physique and look to you, was there at any point where maybe you're around your peers and they might have started taking stuff to where maybe they started kind of having a gap between how good they looked versus you, to where you were thought about it a little bit more in depth of like, maybe I should, and obviously you haven't made the decision to do it, but I'm just curious to know if at any point what made you hold off, because I think a lot of people that are younger that listen to this always think now you have to take something to look a certain way.
I had something like greater than myself holding me off from it, so like growing up, I had to deal with so many, so much drug and alcohol abuse, and just I had like asthma from cigarettes. So like, it was almost like anything that the general population considered to be bad was like bad to me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when we were on Gymshark and stuff like that, and you were not natural, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
First show, yeah,
So like
ready.
Anthony looked amazing, and like obviously I looked pretty good too. I wasn't like really concerned about it, but like for example, I was around people, and I always have and will be around people that are on stuff, but thankfully I held off because to me I just felt like drugs and like weed, alcohol, everything's bad. And then on my 21st birthday, I drank for the first time, not because it was legal, but just because I almost like wanted to come to peace with drinking because of like all this stuff I had to deal with growing up. And I feel like by coming to peace with it would be me doing it. And I was also with a great group of friends. I was with my girlfriend, her sister, Steph, good friend, and I did it. And now I've done it like 5 or 4 times, and I'm okay with it. I just generally don't have any interest in smoking anything because it's not like I have an issue necessarily with smoking. Like I had like an issue with alcohol. Like I hated it, And yeah, I just feel like I always had like a very like set in stone set of morals, and that in itself like held me off for a long time to never take anything. And now that I'm like really like pretty successful, and I also have seen how far I've came without it, I almost feel like the older I get, I just don't really see much of a point in doing it. Like I said, unless I was just like, I need to do a show, and like maybe then I consider it, but I probably wouldn't anyway.
Okay. No, and I think since you kind of touched on it, I don't know if you mind diving into, I guess, early life a little bit. So explaining, obviously you got into fitness at 16, maybe why you did. You obviously were around a solid group of friends with Gymshark, and what got you into fitness in the first place, if you mind sharing some of
I
that.
don't even know that. I feel like you probably told me that at some point. Like, I don't even remember what got into fitness.
Well, like I would always say in videos that it was like a natural instinctual thing, which it kind of was. I started out in like, doing football. I only played football for like half the season freshman year. I was a running back, but they wouldn't let me start because I was white pretty much. But, that's just how it is when you play football.
Where are you from?
Huh?
Where are you from?
Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, I started in the football weight room, and I really did like it a lot. And then halfway through the season, I just quit and got like a gym membership. But the thing was, when I was like 13, which is like 2 years before all that, I would always do like push-ups. My dad had like a few dumbbells and stuff, and I would like just do curls and like push-ups and stuff when I was like 14, like probably once or twice a week. And so even before I got into the literal weight room, I kind of had an instinct that I wanted to lift weights because I always felt really skinny. Like I remember girls' legs were like bigger than mine and stuff. And like, even though nobody directly said anything about it, and I never had seen a bodybuilder, like I didn't know what a bodybuilder even looked like. I just kind of felt like it was like a primal instinct to be like, this like isn't right. And I think it kind of stems from like when I was like younger, like 4 to 6-ish to 7, like my mom like would always get abused in front of me, and like I could never like do anything about it because I was just a kid. And I feel like that's kind of where that it came from, because that guy was like kind of big. He was like a thick big, like a football player type of big. Like he wasn't like a I'm going to the gym 6 days a week, I'm shredded. Like he was just like big bodied and like had that muscle. And like I feel like those dudes that are like thick, they produce like power behind stuff.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're strong.
Like, because I feel like if you're a bodybuilder on a bulk, it's not the same as like being athletic but bulked up. So he kind of had that build, and I just think from seeing my mom, like always get abused in front of me, it kind of always like bothered me in the back of my head. And yeah, so I've always like had the thought in my head of like getting bigger, like muscular wise,
Awesome. So no, I mean, so you started to, I guess your introductory to the weight room, aside from the push-ups and the dumbbell at home, was, I guess, when you were playing football, you probably had like mandatory lifts. And then when you said, fuck football, right? And you joined that gym, whether it was Planet Fitness, whatever it may have been.
Super Fitness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super Fitness. Where did social media come into play? Like, were you already on social media, or you started to come across David videos, which a lot of people do?
Yeah. So the first few videos I ever seen was David's transformation, and I used to watch John Skywalker's like edits and videos of him all the time too. He was like a super big inspiration, and Jeff Side, kind of like the big three, and they were like really motivating to me, and those were like kind of some of my idols Sorry, what was your question one more time?
Oh, so I guess, what made you wake up one day? So after you quit football, I don't know if you were already doing social media when you were trying to play football, but when you quit football, got into the super fitness, what made you start to produce content, I guess, for social media?
So, yeah, okay, that's right. So yeah, for me, I realized, that someone like David was like making money off of social media, like whether it was a lot or not, I don't know, but like I just knew he lived a certain lifestyle that I wanted to live. And for me, like it's funny, like when I was in high school or all the way through K through 8, I like failed every class, but like, K through 8, they kind of just pass you. So I'd fail every single class. And then in high school, they'd always tell me how it's going to change. And I was like, yeah, right. And then it did, because when you fail in high school, you actually stay in those classes. So I was like a senior, like 190 pounds sitting in a room with like prepubescent kids. And like the day I turned 18, I called my school and I was like, I'm literally dropping out. But yeah, the funny story that I was going to say is I think honestly, like I do have ADHD and like it's hard for me to multitask, but when I sit down, especially in like an appropriate environment, like a classroom, I can focus like very well. And the only reason I honestly feel like I failed school was because of homework. Because when I was in class, I was always smart, and it got to a point where sometimes I get it like a C on my math test, even though I wouldn't study or regurgitate any of the content. And this one teacher, I forget her name, I think her name's Mrs. Roper. If she sees this somehow, that'd be cool, but I doubt it. She was a teacher who said, we don't give homework in this class. You just work as hard as you can while you're in here. And it was the only class that I got like a B or an A in. And it was because I didn't have any homework. Because I just never did one page of homework ever. I'd be the kid in class like either sleeping or I'd be doing the homework that's in the next period, like a period before.
That's what I did. So
I don't necessarily feel like I'm dumb. And I'm not saying that education isn't important. That's completely on to you. But for me, I knew that like school really wasn't for me. And I don't claim to be like smart or anything like that. Like I'm not trying to say that. I ended up where I am. And whether that was because of someone greater than me, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not trying to say, oh, you don't need school. That's completely up to you and what you think is appropriate. But for me at the time, I was, 17 and Gymshark was saying, hey, we want to fly you out. And at the same time, my school was saying the only way you can get your diploma, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't graduate. Yeah. The only way you can get your diploma is if you do credit recovery. And at the time, Gymshark was saying, hey, we need to come to the UK and all this other stuff. And I was just a young kid. And the thing about credit recovery is you couldn't fail, you couldn't miss 3 classes or else you'd be kicked out. So I had to actually pick. Because, if I'm with Gymshark flying out to the UK, I can't attend school and all this other stuff. So yeah, the day I turned 18, I called them. I said, I'm dropping out. And it was against my family's wishes, but I was always very independent growing up. Like I wouldn't really listen to many people, which isn't a good or bad thing necessarily. But yeah, so I dropped out there and my inspirations were like David and stuff. And I remember the first time I got an email from Gymshark, I think I was like 17, and like I couldn't sleep the whole night. It was like insane.
Excited.
Yeah, like so it was only a package. It wasn't like saying anything's guaranteed.
I remember that.
It was like the best moment ever in my life, like very memorable moment right there.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's kind of like the timeline for me in school, who I looked up to, and how I got here today, kind of.
And how did Gymshark notice you, I guess? Did you reach out, or you had a video that went viral?
They never told me. Like, I think I've asked them that, actually, when I was with them, and, like, I think it was something like, oh, we always had this planned or something, and I was just like, I don't know. They never really directly told me.
I have my, like, I guess my viewpoint on it. I remember you, like, starting to grow on social media. You remember you posted your first transformation video. I remember I was a sophomore in high school, and then you sent me a photo, you got like 13K views. You're like, look, dude, it's picking up. And it did pick up. I remember checking again at my work, and you were getting like thousands of views by the hour. Remember that was kind of going viral and stuff like that. So that's when you got some like traction to your name. Whether that was the video Gymshark found or not, but like that was around the time period where they showed interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it might have been that. Yeah, my best friend Colin, I've been friends with him for 18 or 17 years, and we were just talking recently, and he's like, man, like when you used to go to the gym, everyone would scold you or look at you weird for having a camera, but he's like, now every time I go to Crunch or like Super Fitness, there's tripods everywhere. But like back when I did it, I'd always get like trash for it at school or like, in the gym and like everything, but now it's like almost weird to go to the gym and not see a tripod.
For sure. No, so you want to interject before I continue?
Go ahead, I'm listening. I'm enjoying.
Cool. So that catches me up, like I said, because I only know bits and pieces of what I happen to see or what I happen to learn from Anthony. But So Gymshark reaches out to you, super excited. Obviously, since then, I'd say you had quite the development and growth. You know, do you ever look back and kind of are astounded yourself and impressed, or did you always believe in your head, like, this is where you could be?
So the honest truth is, like, I don't even want to sit here and lie and be like, oh, like, it came out of nowhere and I didn't expect it, like, da-da-da. Like, I honestly, like, literally had so much, I don't know if it was, like, ignorance is bliss type thing, but, like, I genuinely, down to my core, when I was, like, 16, knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I remember I would tell a few friends from school, even like girls, you know, like as if they cared or anything, but I'd say like, I'm going to be just like David. Like I'm going to be just like this person. And I genuinely like believed it. Like
I did the
down
same
to my
thing,
core.
Lex. Same thing.
Like I didn't have any second guesses or second thoughts. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to make it happen. And I don't care what anybody says. And I feel like, you know, once you see that certain thing that makes sense to you and you're like, this is exactly what I want to do without a doubt. One, I think that's very rare for a person to have. And two, if you ever do have that, don't ever be scared to express that, you know, throughout your life. And don't ever be scared to chase that, because I feel like if something just clicks to you, you should be thankful even in that moment that it happened, because a lot of people don't even know what they want to do until they're like 30 or even older than that. So yeah, for me, once it clicked, I'm like, this is what I'm going to go after. No one's going to stop me. I don't care what my family says. I don't care what my friends say. I'm going to ignore everybody, you know, because at school people would poke fun. They'd be like, they'd like go like this to me. They'd always flex their arm and like, you know, they'd always like poke fun at me and stuff. So yeah, I mean, you couldn't really necessarily make fun of me though, because I was a big fucking kid at school.
Right.
Like, you couldn't just like pick, but you know, it would be like passive aggressive stuff, and it obviously would kind of get under my skin. But yeah, I always just ignored everybody and just went at it like full force, and I knew it was gonna happen, and it like did. So.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's a common theme I see with a lot of successful people in your shoes. They have a similar story to where they truly believe it, versus I'm sure people come up to you all the time. You get a lot of fans, and they're just like, I'm going to be where you are, or I want to be where you are. And like, I think there's a distinct difference between having that desire, like at the core, versus it sounding like a good thing. Like, oh, I'm kind of jealous or envy of what you have, your house, your car. I kind of want that, versus actually believing in yourself from day one when you're not having success, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
So
now I got a question for you, because I kind of have an answer in my own head of myself. But in terms of, you know, doing what you wanted to do, being like a Gymshark athlete, being an athlete in the fitness industry, what was the moment that felt like the happiest and the richest of like an achievement you got? Whether it be the first sponsorship you ever got, a supplement company, anything, house, car. What was like your happiest achievement you got throughout this fitness industry?
There's a few things I can think of. One is obviously my 405 bench, because that was the same day I drank for the first time. So that was just the most like euphoric, fun day ever. Also was like a lifetime goal.
Mm-hmm.
Two was, you know, the Gymshark email that I remember, because that was my first taste of like success.
I remember the edits to that video too.
Mm-hmm. And I think the third one was my first $400 paycheck from Gymshark, because it was finally like, wait, like I'm actually making money from this. I think that was like a big thing. And the money wasn't like, you know, important to me, but it was just a significant thing, as in like, wow, like this, like whether it be very small earnings yearly, this is some sort of a living. And I mean, you know, for a 17-year-old, I mean, $400 a month is pretty good, like by any means.
$100 a week. It's like a typical high schooler working like a weekend shift, you know, doing 8 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
So
also like a really good moment was when, you know, like me, you, and James, like all went to gym. Well, David too, but like, you know, we all went to the UK, because I just feel like
infill launch,
yeah,
senior launch.
we like really manifested like what we have, which is funny.
Yeah.
So
No, that was awesome. That really was. They're kind of doing that right now in Gymshark. They have like a bunch of athletes there right now, kind of doing like a big shoot. But no, that moment for both you, I was like crazy. You helped me get with Gymshark, which I don't know if many people know about, but
I didn't even know I did. I forgot.
I've told you that several times, and you're like, no, I didn't. I'm like, yeah, you did. You know about that, Kyle? I think I told you. We can share
I think
it here.
you can touch on it and share it, because obviously it hasn't stuck.
Yeah. Well, so it kind of happened with just me and Lex being friends in general. Lex and I organically became friends through Instagram. We had no following, right? 2K, 1.8K, like nothing. It was high school friends. I remember the night we first started texting. It was right before, it was like 2 weeks or a week and a half before the Arnold Classic in like 2018. Yeah. And I remember like texting this kid because I don't know, he was a kid around my age, and we were just like both found a love and passion for lifting, and I was excited staying up the whole night. I remember putting my phone in the charger, rushing to put it on my dad's charger stand. Then I went in my bed. I'm texting this kid. We were texting like 3 hours, something like that. And then we wanted to meet each other. The Arnold Classic, right? I was going Friday and Saturday with my dad. Lex was going Sunday with his dad.
Yeah. And
then we missed each other, so we didn't get to see each other that year. So then fast forward a whole year later, we stayed in contact. We'd Snapchat a shit ton. We were teenage boys Snapchat. We'd just do funny stuff, you know, Snapchat. So
Oliver as well.
Yeah, we had a whole little group at the time.
Oliver
Porcelain.
Okay,
So
cool.
when we were young,
He's a Snapchat warrior now, though.
he's a Snapchat warrior, bro. That's all he does is Snapchat. But it was cool.
he's still
We
great.
found other kids our age that wanted to be influencers before this was like super common. Before we have everyone making a fitness account, we weren't fitness accounts. It was just like our personal account. It was Oliver Porcelain, Lexx Little, Anthony Mantello, and like no Anthony Mantello fit, you know. So back then, the industry was a lot different. There was no Reels, no TikTok. It was like, in order to grow, it was posting on Instagram and trying to get YouTube traction. That was literally it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all kind of our own lane. We had like a group chat, Next Gen, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of weren't active in it a little bit because you kind of like had your own feelings and stuff. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
But we were just kind of motivating each other.
Yeah.
And we said it to each other.
Zach too.
Zach too. Riley too. Palfy. Rest in peace to him too. But like, there's screenshots I could probably pull up on my old phone of like us saying we're all gonna do this. Oliver Porcelain worked at KFC in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
He's now living in Dubai.
Yeah.
Like a G-Wagon. Like it's crazy. It really is. Like we all manifested that to a large degree. But continuing the story with me and Lex, the following year went to the Arnold Classic again. Met this guy for the first time. It was in a YouTube video of his. And I remember that whole day was just like so emotional. I remember like leaving being super emotional because of, number one, we're walking around the fitness expo. Me, you, Zach. Riley. And then was there anyone else? I remember Riley worked a booth because he was with that company Magnum, right?
Yeah.
But we were meeting people that we looked up to at the time, like Andre Diu, Jeremy Potvin was one of mine, men's physique guy. But we were just walking around taking photos of everyone. If you go down on Instagram, you see like time period, like you'll see it. And then we went to a gym. We got a workout in.
Mm-hmm. It was LA Fitness.
It was an LA Fitness.
And then the next day
was a self-made fitness. Yep. I remember that LA Fitness video. It was just like, because everything was like very surreal to me.
I was off so much DMA that workout. I didn't even feel like I was a real person.
I was on a bunch of adrenaline being around you. I was super excited. You're my friend for like a year.
Yeah.
I got to meet you in person, And then I was younger. Lex was 17. I was 16. Lex was bigger than me. Zach was humongous at the time. He still is.
Zach is a big boy.
But I remember like I'm inclined dumbbell pressing 70s. Lex is doing 100s. Zach's doing like 120s. And we're like flexing. We're taking our shirts off. Not taking our shirts off, like lifting the shirt, like doing some like aesthetic poses and shit. And it was just like super surreal and like euphoric. Mm-hmm. It was one of those workouts where like you could have the shittiest sleep, but you were just so happy. It was like an amazing workout. I remember when I went to the bathroom, that workout, right? We did some like clips. We got some flexing clips or whatever. That was cool. And then what else did we do that night? Nothing really. Buffalo Wild? No, that was the next day. But same thing with this trip, right? Arnold Classic. Next day went to the Self-Made Fitness. And that was an interesting workout we had. It was a sick clip. Sick video. And then we kind of ended it off like chilling at the hot tub or the pool. Remember that? We were kind of like dancing and stuff, like just having fun. We were not making fun. We were dancing in front of the old ladies. We were just like,
I didn't say making fun.
No, I said that because I thought we were making fun of them. But I remember to conclude that trip, the first time meeting Lex, I was super emotional. I remember crying leaving. I was like, damn, I'm like, this kid's like me with the same passion, same goal. And like, it sucks that we're young. Just a little
more angry and on edge.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember like crying and like I went back to my hotel with my dad and then we drove home the next day. And then we planned out actually for you to come to Jersey.
Yeah.
So obviously we stayed in contact. We stayed friends. Eventually Lex came to Jersey. Remember counting down the days, like getting ready, wanted to make sure it looked good for the whole time because like Lex was bigger. Like I had something to motivate myself. Lex was bigger than me. He was leaner than me. I was like really impressed by Lex. So I wanted to look good next time he came down. So
Yeah.
I think I looked the part. I looked all right at that time. And then that's when we had crazy videos. We did a video with James, Dave. That video kind of went viral. But once again, it was just like us just having a genuine good time. We weren't really trying to gain anything besides having fun with each other, right?
And you're how old at this point? 18, 19?
18. I was 18.
Lex
like
turned 18.
17.
I was 17. 'Cause our birthdays are a week apart, April and May.
Very cool.
And then this is the time period for us, or for me, really, where it kicked off. Because after that, that's when Gymshark kind of saw me.
You were on VQ first.
Yeah, and Lex gave me VQ, which we may not know about. I was with VQ first, my first sponsorship. And Lex was already committed to Gymshark, whether he signed the contract or not. I remember he's with Gymshark, right? And VQ then decided after, like seeing us and stuff, they were like, you know what? They wanted to branch in this new generation coming up. So they reached out to Lex first. And Lex was like, hey, like, I'm already with Gymshark, but like go to my friend, like he's upcoming, like Ann. And he did. He said that, And they reached out to me. And then that was my first sponsorship. I was with VQ. And then Gymshark saw the bond and the friendship Lex and I had. It was just genuine, making content. And the people obviously liked it. So then they had the idea for the infill string launch, and then the rest was history. Mm-hmm. We continue more?
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it's good.
No, it's awesome. So
It really is. It's cool.
I guess, Lex, more for you, right? I think obviously since then you've had tremendous success, to say the least, right? At what point, or since then as well, you've obviously made some business decisions for personal life, where you're now no longer in Ohio, you're obviously in California. At what point did it seem maybe overwhelming to have to make a jump to where, you were excited to have Gymshark, but then eventually Gymshark, it wasn't enough. You're ready. It was like a stepping stone for what's next. Like, how do you manage, or I guess it's a two-part question. One, at what point do you feel was like the most challenging to figure out, like, okay, I should leave Gymshark, or you're getting hit with all these different offers and you don't really know which ones fit what you're really looking for at your core?
Yeah, so I cried when I left Gymshark, to be honest. When I called them and I was like, hey, like I don't want to do anymore, and I just like started crying because that was my first ever like brand, and like they always have that like special spot in my heart for them because like they gave me the chance. Yeah. It definitely changed my life, so thank you for that. But yeah, the thing is towards the end of like me and Gymshark, I just had so many issues with like the values of the company and like where it was heading, especially because, I was exposed to the company first before anything. And I had the vision that I had growing up with like David, and then like we were on, it was going well, but then COVID kind of like messed the whole brand up. And then like they started getting super political, which, by the way, like if you're going to be an influencer, like just don't get political, man, because you're just going to upset 50% of your audience, whatever side you pick. You just kind of want to stay away from that, in my opinion. That's why I don't ever really touch on that stuff. But, yeah, but Gymshark basically segregated their entire fan base with all like the politics as well, and also just like promoting like obesity. See, the thing is I love when an overweight person gets in the gym. That's like very amazing. I've had people come to me and say they lost weight. So like, don't get the wrong idea there. But it's more like I remember I even sent them this. They had this girl on Gymshark, or whatever. They were posting multiple pictures of her like pretty consistently, and I went to her account and she didn't even work out. She doesn't have any workout content. She just was a body positivity person. And I'm like, all right, Gymshark, if you're going to have like an overweight person on Gymshark, at least have them like trying to make a change, because, factually and objectively, obesity is just not good for you.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy by any means. And you're a gym brand. You should be all about health. And this girl didn't even work out. She had no workout content anywhere. I looked through her whole account. I'm like, why are you promoting this person? So yeah, I was getting really fed up with it. Also, I was starting to, kind of not like their clothes as much. They weren't fitting as well as they used to. The quality wasn't as good. And Young Elaine like sent me a package I really, really liked. Like at the time, the Rocket Tank. I don't really wear it anymore, but I liked like their stuff at the time.
Old, yeah.
And the thing is like, I've had my hiccups with Young LA, obviously. What?
Nothing. I said something like secret.
I have no idea what he said.
Well, we've had our hiccups with Young LA, especially recently with like the controversy of like one of the people on Young LA coming out and saying, like slurs and all this other stuff. If you haven't seen that, basically like a Young LA person on Young LA came out and said a bunch of slurs and a bunch of outrageous stuff. But I think, something to think about here is you know, for young LA, it's like, yes, this person might have said all these things, and I don't agree with, you know, any of the things that he said, but at the same time, there's a lot of Americans that think you need to have freedom of speech and you should be allowed to say whatever you want. So whatever young LA does, they're going to get the short end of the stick of that situation, and it's not up to me to handle it. I don't want you to be mad at me, but I'm just saying they're in a sticky situation, and it is, and that person who said it was their first ever athlete. So,
Correction, not their first ever athlete.
oh,
But he's like, well, he was one of the beginning guys, one of
Yeah.
the guys that helped bring the brand up. People thought he was a lead designer because he said it. He's not. He's an athlete.
now if it were up to me, I'd want him off the brand. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone. For people that didn't see the slurs, right? I'm sure you can just Google it a little bit. But it brought, I guess, a negative outlook to a lot of people that are associated with the brand. And I guess just to reiterate, like, we don't stand for what was said, right? But at the end of the day, we can't control. We can influence each other, but I can't make you say something. But yeah, all we can do is just stand by what we believe in, right? So
yeah,
and try to spread the right positivity. But I guess getting back to what you were mentioning, where your values just you saw the vision of Gymshark no longer maybe in that fitness demographic and kind of going more to the general public, perhaps.
mm-hmm.
And you had your first experience with Young LA, so that was obviously very life changing. I mean, that's where at least I'm here at this point, meeting a lot of you guys. What else in your life changed? What made you move to LA? I guess all that stuff.
Well, when I first met my girlfriend, it was our 4-year anniversary in the beginning of October. So I was 18. I first met her.
I remember your whole meeting her. I remember we were actually in for the Gymshark infill stringer, and we were in a hotel. Lex was the room next to me, and he was like, "Bro, I just started talking to this girl. She's bad as fuck." And he's like, "I want to say something so bad. I don't know if it's appropriate. It's kind of appropriate." You're like, "Bro, I'm a sexter tonight."
Hey, I was a fiend back then, man.
Yeah, bro,
So,
you're 18. I mean, what do you want to say?
But anyway, like, yeah, so when I first met Aaron, I'm sorry, what was your question?
No, so I guess I was just following your life story, right? You have this success, right? You get from Gymshark,
LA,
super
that's right.
excited, moving here,
I get it. I got it. Okay, so yeah, why I moved to LA. So when I first met Erin, her biggest dream is to become an actress, and acting is like pretty complicated. You literally have to be in a certain area. Like I remember this one agency like literally declined her because she lived in Ohio. Like you have to be like local for a lot of agencies, whether it be like Chicago, New York, or like LA. It has to be like a very important city. So she wanted to move to LA. Right when I met her, she's like, I want to move to LA one day. Like, like all this stuff like about LA. And I'm like, nah, like, friends. So I got my friends here. And like, I was just living like comfy there. Like, no way, because I've never moved or anything. And then Anthony was out in LA for the first time, and I seen how much fun he was having, and I called him one night, and I'm like, dude, like, because I thought about how Aaron has always wanted to live here, and I'm like, man, like, that looks pretty fun. Right. And then I tell Anthony, I'm like, yo, like, should I come out there? He's like, yeah. I got an Airbnb with a really, 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 like, solid dude. His name's Joseph Delvaux. We've been friends since high school. He's like one of my best friends. It was me, Joe, and Aaron, and I stayed there for 2 months. I went back home, was like, fuck this. And I went back because I just realized, like, man, like, it's so important to, like, go somewhere that's not where you're from. You're just going to deal with the same people all day. And you've been living there, I feel like when you move out, that's, like, the biggest start to you growing, like, mentally and physically and financially. So, yeah, I came back, and, like, it all works out for Erin, too. Acting's, like, obviously really hard to get into, but, like, I believe in her fully. And I'm not stuck here because of Erin or anything like that. Like, it's not like I'm losing anything by being here. It's a great spot. I'm with, Young LA's right around the corner, the warehouse, the gym. A lot of people are moving here. So, yeah, it's a good spot to be. And, like, I don't want to live here indefinitely. But, yeah, I'm basically here because I called Anthony. He's like, yeah, come on. And then also Aaron wanted to move here. And I came here, loved it, came back. And I have yet to be anywhere that I like living better. Now, I don't like, the whole political and financial part of California, but in terms of like living, like if you can afford it, and it's like beautiful out here, and like there's always something to do. It's like really fun to me, and like I see my second favorite place I've been is Arizona probably, but I just don't like how there's like no vegetation there. But it's still like it's really nice. And I honestly discovered I really hate snow. Like the only day I miss it is Christmas, and that's it.
No.
It's a fair statement, bro. I don't like the snow that much either.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people that come out here stay out here for a reason. sometimes you don't see it until you're out here, and some other people don't stay. But for the majority, I think it's got a lot of what you're looking for. Like you said, if you could afford it, it makes sense.
That's kind of cool. I never knew that I it's influenced you to come out here because I don't even remember that. I don't remember that FaceTime call.
I called you. I was at Fitness 19 like super late at night, and I'm like, hey man, like.
I'm sorry, I don't remember that. Is there anything else that I like made you choose or influence you on?
I can't think of any. If I thought about it, probably, but I can't think right off the top of my head. But I do know I literally called you, and you're like, yeah. I was like, all right, bet.
You recruited him, and then you left.
I mean, yeah, his whole whatever. I mean, I did the same thing. I got an Airbnb out here for a couple weeks, and I was like, fuck, I like this place, and I came back out, making me think I want to move again, bro.
Really? You hate it here. You're always talking about.
Look at Kyle. Kyle's like,
you hate it here, dude. You always talk about it.
He's all talk.
I can't imagine. I honestly can't imagine living out here. If I was in this vicinity, like honestly, like these last couple of days wasn't bad because I was coming to your house, 12-minute drive, Young LA, gym, like 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
So everything was like pretty close. Like Isaiah's house, 15-minute drive. Like this area is really not that bad. But when you got to take the highway to go somewhere, you're screwed.
I usually go places at night if I can, or like
to avoid the traffic. Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. I look
cool.
thinking about it.
So I guess obviously now you're here, so that kind of catches everyone up to speed. I guess with your story thus far. What's that?
Life, yeah.
With life, yeah. So I guess rewinding perhaps, or maybe it's more recent. What are some regrets I guess you have thus far? So not obviously, not finishing high school it has proven to be very wise, right? But what are maybe some regrets in terms of decisions you made or things you might look back on? And perhaps, like I said, I think everyone goes through and makes choices that looking back they might do differently, but you are where you are now because of those decisions. But perhaps things you look back and say wasn't the best decision for X reason.
I only have one I can think of, but it's just like
Get a little closer.
I only have one I can think of, but I don't even want to talk about it. Big E.
Big E?
Big E.
Who's Big E?
Oh yeah.
Would you want to talk about that, or is that like just like that's done for?
Is Big E not?
I mean, you could if you want, bro. I think.
Is it bad? It's not like political.
You know, Big E.
The Big E.
You.
It's Big E.
The coach, Big E.
Oh, him. Yeah, I like him. Let's talk about him.
You want me to?
No,
I mean, I can open up about that. I mean, fuck it.
Nothing wrong with it, I guess, right?
I think like my only regret was ever talking to that guy, bro. So basically, let me catch you up to speed. This is some OG shit.
I'll give you my story too.
This is the first time anyone has ever talked about Big E directly. But I'll be the guy because I'm an honest guy and like, you know what? I'm gonna have the balls on me. So a long time ago, like 16, 17-year-old me, basically like David had a coach and he was like a pedophile, but like nobody knew because he would like, I mean, he's a pedophile. He does what he does best. He manipulates you, and he makes you feel like he's like a good friend, right? That's not true. So like basically I started talking to him and he would like send me, he'd like send me shit like squat shoes and shit. But like, mind you, I don't even really have much of a family and like nobody is there to help me or point anything out for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a very independent, lonely kid. The only way of thinking I could really have back then was myself. And I made the wrong judgment. So I got closer to him. And then, he would start talking about like sexual stuff. And the thing is like, it's very hard for someone who hasn't been like kind of groomed to like understand it. But the thing is like, you would never understand what it's like unless you're in the situation. But from my point of view, mind you, I'm 17. I'm really young. Like I haven't, I'm living in my parents' house. Like I'm just not even parents. I don't have parents, but I was parent or whatever. I was living with my grandma. So like, he makes you really feel like he's like a great friend. And like, like let's say, you go out and bone some shit. You want to talk to your boy about it, just like simple shit. But then he started like asking for more. And eventually like, this girl basically like took a video who was 16 of me, going to town, we'll say.
Bro, you bringing that up.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, go for it. Let it out.
So yeah, she took a video of me and then like basically like he asked for it and I was like, you're my dog. Like, fuck it. I don't know. I was super manipulated and that's a big regret. But yeah. So then that video like went around and that honestly like ruined my entire perception of the world because I'm in a situation like, hey man, like I'm 16 in this video and the girl's 15, but I can't directly say like, this is literally like child pornography, because then the actual child predators will have a reason to go and find it, which I just feel like I'm okay opening up with it now, because I just feel like, you know, I mean, fuck it. I've already opened up about everything else that sucks in my fucking life when I was growing up, and this is just another stepping stone. But yeah, I think the only thing that really like made me more mad than anything is the fact that people.
What does that say?
What?
Oh, it's still going.
Oh, we're still good?
Yeah, it's got limited space, it says, so I don't know, Grant was wrong.
You want to pause it real quick?
No, I can't. Go ahead, continue.
Well,
Pause this?
No, just continue. I'll just put it in front of me, keep an eye on it.
I just
so
want
Anthony's
to
gonna try to fix this machine. But yeah, basically I think the only thing that made me infuriated, like beyond belief, like to where I wanted to literally like punch a hole through the fucking wall, is that people would say that the video that was like leaked is like Erin, like my current girlfriend. Like, no, buddy, that's a fucking 15-year-old girl. And honestly, it feels good to get that out because I deserve it. And you have to understand, it's like, you know, if you're like, oh, why didn't you say this earlier? It's like, dude, I didn't know what to do. Like, it's hard to sit there and talk about it. You have to think from my point of view. And then another thing is like, again, now, like, you know, actual child predators will have a reason to go find it because it's underage.
Right.
It's like, dude, are Aaron's legs that fucking skinny? Like, really, dude? Why the video is in like 140p? Like, what the fuck? So yeah, that's a big regret, is basically ever getting in contact with him. But you know, I wasn't the only kid, and thankfully he's in jail like forever now. Right? I think he's in jail for the rest of his life.
I believe so. I remember people contacted us, giving us an update on
No,
shit.
you didn't talk to the detective recently about
I did.
that?
That's something about the people. They gave us information. I remember they said a long, long time.
Yeah.
They said there's like specific things like court hearings, but it takes like a long time. So I don't know whether he is now or soon or what it is.
Yeah. So basically, in the summary of it is you know, me, Anthony, like, you know, Dave, anybody you can think of, almost, to be honest. I could just keep going and going. Everybody.
James, yeah.
Literally everybody. And I'm not even talking influencers you might know. I'm talking, there's even micro influencers, you know, like, he had the cream of the crop. He had like top 50 fucking people.
Yeah, he looked out for prospects that were like, you know, up and coming. Like he had a type, bro. It was little boys that were fit.
Yeah.
Little fit boys.
So that's basically what happened with that situation, and that's probably the biggest regret, is ever talking to him. But you know, shit happens, and we're in the present, and life's good now. He's in jail forever, and fuck it. You know?
No doubt.
No, that's crazy. So,
Yeah.
You want me to touch on him?
You guys gotta give
You want
me
me to
props.
touch on him?
You guys
no,
gotta
I don't think you need
you guys
to.
got to give me props. For
No, dude,
opening
that
up.
seriously, bro. Like, I'll give you a big ass hug after this shit. That was good.
I'll put my
No,
big boy
I
pants
appreciate.
on.
Like I said, when I asked
It's like
that
the
question,
dark horse, bro. Nobody wants to talk about it, but I'm just like, hey, man, you know what? Fuck it. We all got manipulated. We were all kids.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
and that's the sad truth. I mean, it still happens today, right?
Yeah.
It's not. Sometimes people just see things recently and they're like, "Oh, this is just like new in 2020," but it's been happening for a while. And you guys, despite being top of the industry now, at one point you weren't here yet, and you were dealing with this, right? So,
Yeah.
what I was going to say next, did you have something to say?
No, go.
I was going to ask you, was there at any point, so that was obviously your biggest regret, but, you know, in hindsight, you were already at least, hopefully, leaps and bounds ahead when it was happening. Was there any point where you thought about giving up on this journey to where
Fitness?
on fitness, I guess, on living this lifestyle? Did you ever think it was something so overwhelming that you're just like, fuck, this isn't worth it anymore? Like, my heart was wrong.
Yeah. When that video got leaked like a year ago and like got 500,000 views on TikTok for some reason.
500,000 views. Fuck.
Yeesh.
I literally
Oh, is that the one with the
I
bench?
remember-
The kid on the bench?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
I
fuck
remember
that
because again, it's literally like I have to deal with the weight of my shoulders of like it being like I know it's me when I was 16 and a 15-year-old girl that I was dating, you know,
Yeah.
and I have to deal with that, and I don't know if it's best to say this is what it is or if it's best to ignore it, you know. And I was having like mental warfare with myself,
For sure.
and then having people say it's Aaron. I would never in a million years expose Aaron's body to anyone ever, and I will say that. I swear to God on my mom's life, and I love my mom more than anyone in this world except Aaron and Aaron's life. I've never, ever done that. So I think when that got leaked, this is the truth. Remember that video, guys, when on my channel when I posted a workout with Sade, Ziz's brother, and I just didn't post for 2.5 months. That's why. Because I genuinely was so filled. I wasn't sad. I was just so mad. I was so mad that I couldn't feel anything but anger, and I couldn't even cry. Like, you know, the tears wouldn't even come out of my eyes. I didn't cry for like 3 or 4 months. I never cried about it. And then one night, I was sitting there listening to Experience. I forget who it's by. It's like a good song, Experience, you know, the piano and stuff.
Sure, I'll look it up after this.
Kind of like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
I was listening to that, and I broke the fuck down about that situation, bro. Mm-hmm. I broke down. I went upstairs, fucking snot coming out of my nose, crying to Aaron. Like, it finally like came out of me, and you know and I think a good way that I got that off my chest, and why I like kind of came back, was when I made that video talking about my childhood. Because seeing like that, because I saw the world at its ugliest.
Yep.
With that situation, I just couldn't believe, because you know it's like people can't conceptualize that I'm a real human.
No, dude, they don't care. They're behind a screen, dude. So they'll just comment whatever. They're poking fun. They're having their little giggle. They're being a dick, but they don't think about like, dude. I bet you people that commented mean things too are fans.
Yeah,
they're just being trolls and assholes.
That's what I'm saying is. Yeah. So for those 3-4 months, I was like not posting shit and gone. When I go to the gym, you know, somebody come for a picture, I wouldn't even want to take a picture with anybody.
No, because you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what the perception of you is.
The deepest. That was the darkest point in my entire life.
I'm sorry, man.
I felt literally like the deepest hatred ever. Like ever. I've never felt hate like that. Like it was a hate that wouldn't come out. It just lay dormant inside of me, and like I could only feel it, and I couldn't even express it, and I couldn't cry. It was just because, you know, growing up, I mean, you've seen it firsthand when we were like boys back in the day. I always had like anger issues.
You punched me before.
I did punch Anthony. Listen, we've been through this. I've said my apologies.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I was expressing your anger.
Hey, it's a good memory.
Yeah, it's great.
I've become self-aware. I've become self-aware.
In the face.
No, it was right here.
Oh yeah, it was in my chest.
It was on your chest.
Because we had a pillow fight, and I think I accidentally hit him in the face when we had a pillow fight.
Don't even say that.
So he dropped the pillow and popped you?
Dude, I'm sorry, bro. That's so cringy. Listen, I was 17, 18, like.
No, that's right. I was 16.
I was 17.
I was 16. No, you were 18. I was 17.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude.
It's
I would
okay,
never
bro.
do something
No, you're
like
good.
that.
You're chilling.
I'm so sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I love you, bro.
You're good. I love you too.
So yeah, me and Anthony got into a little tussle because I couldn't control my emotions.
You're okay.
But yeah, I'm super in tune with my emotions now, and like, I mean, you know. Like,
you matured a shit ton since your earlier days. But, so proud of you.
Yeah. Basically, like, yeah, that was just the worst point for me, and that was my lowest, and that's kind of the reason I disappeared, because I seen the world at its ugliest, and I've never felt that depressed, I guess, and like dark. But now, you know, feels good to like get all this shit off my chest, bro.
Asked it,
like,
yeah. Talked about it.
You know, like I feel like people can respect, like, it took some balls to talk about all that shit, but I don't even care. You know, I'm always gonna keep it a buck. You know, and like, I was just sick of holding all that shit in, and the podcast is a good way to get it out. I wasn't even planning on talking about it, but it just came to be. So yeah,
I didn't even think about it either, bro. I wasn't even really trying to fish that shit out of you.
Yeah.
Imagine we tried fishing that out of him.
No,
An awful host.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I said that by my own, you know, decision. But yeah, but it's super good, you know, to go through those things, because even though I went through all that and had like literally psychological warfare for 3-4 months and like disappeared, like I wouldn't take. I guess like, you know, I guess like I have the regret by talking to so and so, but I don't particular have like. I wouldn't say I have regrets though. Like if I were to think like, yeah, I regret it, but like, you know, I have to think like what, you know, the butterfly effect, like what would have happened if I didn't go through those things. Right. So I don't really live with regrets. That was the only thing I could really think of, but I'd go through all that shit again if I had to, because, you know, every time I go through something like that, it just makes me stronger. And, you know, I've been let down and like torn down so many times in my life that I always trust in myself that I'll build it back up eventually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, awesome. And then I guess you have anything to say? Like I said, I want to keep asking different questions.
No, ma'am. I mean, instead of like a bad thing, what's like a happy memory you have with me?
A happy memory with you?
Yeah.
Probably when we went to that water park. We got,
I was thinking about
the
that.
most sunburnt of all time.
You were sunburned as fuck. Yeah, we went to.
You were a tan guy.
It was tan. We went to Hurricane Harbor. Mm-hmm. Me, him, and Zach.
What's been like your guys' like roughest point, if you don't mind? If you don't want to answer, that's fine. Obviously, I'm not going to pressure you.
Trying to think.
I feel like if you can't think of it right away, then
No, I've got like
I have like mental, physical things. I mean, I'm trying to think of. I guess getting injured mentally, that's been very hard for me.
hard for
right?
you.
I never got hurt ever. I hope no one gets hurt. But I had 2 significant injuries in the last year. So that's put a different perspective because my whole life, you know, I don't maybe produce content like you guys do, but I like being in the gym. I like trying to lead by example. And I guess not being able to wake up every day and go to the gym, stuff like that, it's definitely felt like something was kind of taken from me. It wasn't a decision to just, you know, stop playing soccer or something like that. It was, no, I can't do it. So my last thought for a while was the last time I was in the gym, I didn't know that would be my last time for a bit, you know? So that'd be like the mental aspect, I guess. But since then, it's taught me a lot to value time management and making me reflect back on how much time I do spend in the gym and maybe things I neglected because of my focus on it. So I think that's something that I don't want people to get injured, but I think it's something that teaches you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's a wicked scar. I just noticed that.
Yeah, that's a nice wicked one, and I have one.
Tricep and leg.
Oh, whoa! That's like Ian Vellier has that.
Yep, he's got one. His goes up a little higher. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, it wasn't up higher. But
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you learn from it, man. You know, so I think it's a wound. It reminds me every time I see it. It's like, damn, you know, life changed. We were having fun. It wasn't anything we ever would have planned or thought would happen, but that's something to go through. And then, you want to touch on anything?
I can't talk about one, but there's one I can talk about, which I guess is the first roughest point that I had. I guess there's 2 I could talk about. One is like me messing around relationship with my dad sometimes.
Is that on, by the way? Is it good?
Yeah, while you're doing this, I'm
good.
just going to text Grant to see how much time after that error do we have.
So obviously it sucks not talking to your parents when that happens, right? I guess the first time happened wasn't my choice, but when I chose to like bodybuild instead of play soccer, I lost relationship with my dad a little bit. I didn't speak to him for a couple months. I wanted to speak to him. He didn't want to speak to me because he was upset with me. And then recently, there's a situation I had with him where I took him. I was really happy to take him out to see like a soccer game, see Messi play, because he loves soccer, right?
Damn,
I used to
bro.
play soccer.
It's a big thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's like scary to talk about.
We just
like
recently started talking again, so
it's scary to talk about your family, dude.
yeah. So
don't wanna hurt their feelings.
no, I know. So yeah, originally like I used to play soccer, right? He was one to introduce soccer to me. Played it, and obviously growing up, we bonded over weekend games and stuff like that. He lived through me, like watched me play, enjoyed it. It was obviously he's the breadwinner of the house, so the weekends when he had work off, he'd enjoy watching me play soccer, practice and play. Quit. He got upset with me. Didn't see him for a couple months, like almost a year. I felt like I don't remember exactly, but you know, like I remember weird energy in the house and stuff like that. And then we became good again. Like the next year, my junior year of high school, I played soccer again. Did it for him. And then recently, right, when I was chilling, everything was good. Our relationship was great for years. I wanted to get him a cool Father's Day gift. I got my mom a bigger gift than I normally have, you know, with more income. So I got her a bigger gift one year, and I wanted to get my dad like a bigger gift. And it was this year, Messi coming to the MLS. I was like, shit. I was like, let me get him some Messi tickets, some good tickets, you know. So, we got him the tickets. Went to go to see the game, and we just had like a stupid moment of fighting. And I guess I was being a strong ass, and so was he. But I could have just let it go to enjoy the moment of the game. And the situation was him giving me like parent advice, as he's been on this world for longer than I have. And I was basically like, I really don't want to hear your advice. I appreciate it. I understand it. But like, I'm still going to do it my way. And like, if it does happen, okay, I will experience it and I will learn. But like, I just didn't want to hear it. And he got upset with that. And then that was like literally when the soccer team's Messi was warming up and the other team was warming up.
Sorry, we ran out of storage.
Yep, ran out of storage. Sorry about that. So hopefully this will go back. So resuming, I don't remember where I was in the story. What? Am I out of
Should you
frame?
move it? I mean, you're just on the edge of it, so you look smaller than you actually are.
No, he looks bigger.
No, it's on.
I see.
right, we're back.
I see.
So now we look normal.
Okay. So I don't know
I'm
where
alright with being the twink.
Twink. So you're in the middle of telling
my story. Yeah.
your story.
I don't know where I was, but basically, I think I said with apology, right?
He was trying to apologize.
He apologized,
You were
and
on
I was
your high
like,
horse.
I didn't want to accept the apologies. I was like, you couldn't apologize before the game started. We ruined that moment that I wanted to be special for us, which once again, my dad was stubborn, so was I. Obviously, we both were stubborn. We couldn't both agree to enjoy the moment that we could have had. And then it let us not talk for a month, and I finally messaged him to conversate with him and rekindle our relationship. So I guess being like stubborn and being like that to my parents, my dad in the situation was like a regret. Obviously it's a regret. It just sucks, and like obviously life's not forever, and like so like I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't want like it sucks like have that be a part of his life of like not talking to your son. So it feels bad in my heart, you know, to do.
I think when like Riley Palfy passed away, that really showed me to like not hold any grudges, because me and him, it's so stupid because it's not even like me and him had an issue that I even remember. Like it was so insignificant, but we just like something happened between us and we just like wouldn't talk. And like we like we weren't like fond of each other. I wouldn't say I like hated him. I don't think he would say that either. If, you know, in the middle
Just
of
like
that
a situation arise, and the best resolution you guys did was to avoid each other instead of like confronting it.
Exactly. And like, and then he passed away, and dude, like that like bothered me so bad knowing that I had an issue with somebody. It's so stupid. Like I don't even remember. It was so insignificant on both of our ends, and we just never confronted it, and he passes away, and it's like, dude, I've known him for
Nothing to do.
That taught me right then and there to like not have any hold any grudges, you know, and like it really just made me think about a lot of shit when that happened. I was even texting people when that happened that I you know, same issue where me and that person, whoever I was texting, had an issue in the past. I literally text them being like, dude, like just know it's no bad blood, like, you know, like just telling everybody that I have no issue with them if we did, because I don't ever want that to happen again.
Yeah, it sucks. Another regret, I guess, one of the like, fitness industry wise I have was like gaining 25 pounds in 3 days. I feel like it's a dramatic, like not as serious, but kind of serious. It just played such a toll on my mental at the time because I was in high school. I just won a show at 17.
Oh, you went to school and you were fat?
Yeah, bro. I was a senior in high school.
Oh, dude, were people like, what the?
So I remember, ready, Lex?
Yeah.
I remember prepping for the show, right? I was getting lean, chiseled jaw. I was looking good, right? And I remember like some of the girls that I liked were like, I'm saying like, oh my God, he's cute. Like, oh my God. Like they showed interest. And I was focused on my show. And then when the shows were over, I remember like winning the first one. I get applaud, like congratulations, or talking to me. And then after the second show, 2 weeks later, getting 25 pounds in 3 days. And
dude, that doesn't even like, I feel like people were looking at you like, how is that even possible?
I don't even know, bro. I was so self-conscious. I wore hoodies and I was just like, I didn't want to be seen. I remember I was like very depressed without like saying I was clinically depressed. I was playing video games till like 4 a.m. RuneScape, bro. I played RuneScape again at that time period. And I remember, dude, this is the lowest low thing I've ever done. This is it right here. Ready for this? I don't think you know this story. Here we go. So it was during this depression. I was 17, senior in high school, 2020, New Year's Eve. I didn't go out, and usually every New Year's Eve I would go out, not to drink, but just be like party with my friends, like have a fun time. I stayed home, playing RuneScape when the ball dropped. And I used to have like a weed cart. A lot of kids in my school had like weed carts. And my pen died. And the cartridge broke or some shit. I fucking ate the wax. And I started hallucinating.
Wait, because you were hungry?
No, bro, because I wanted to fucking get high. I wanted to smoke my pen, but like it wouldn't work because it was broken or some shit.
I thought you were like so like
I was
starved.
no. I fucking ate cartridge wax. And I literally remember like playing RuneScape, nothing hit me, nothing like that. I went to sleep. I remember like waking up on New Year's Day. Bro, I was like not functioning. I slept the whole day. I went downstairs to my parents. And like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I just don't feel good. Like I didn't tell them what I did. I remember like being bent over like over the table, like they're like comforting, like rubbing my back and stuff. And I was like fucked up. That was like the stupidest thing I've ever done. That was stupid as shit. Holy fuck.
Don't
eat weed cards.
Very interesting.
You want to talk about my diet since you were antsy about it before we started?
What's wrong with his diet?
I don't know.
So Lexx recently, like last year, he made like kind of YouTube videos saying he was bulking. Remember he just said in the beginning of the podcast he learned how to cook chicken. So Lexx,
Just 1 second. What do you mean learn to cook chicken?
I never cooked it before in my life.
What did you do to eat chicken?
Chick-fil-A or I just go out.
You just get already like pre-made chicken?
no, but Lexx literally like, used to just eat out all the time.
Also, my grandma, when I lived with my grandma, I'd
Okay.
either be eating out, like McDonald's, when I was like, like 17, 18,
Yeah.
or I'd be just eating like, to be fair, my grandma made some good meals. She'd make like spaghetti, meatballs, like all this other stuff.
Banging
and, like,
food, okay.
Yeah, she's a good chef.
So you wake up one day and you decided you want to
Chef's right word.
make chicken.
Well, it was because I moved into my apartment.
Gotcha.
So when I moved here, I was on my own. I didn't have anyone to make me food, and also I didn't. I just felt like, okay, now that it's my house, I'm gonna do what I want. Because also another big thing is like I didn't really want to make food or learn because I just didn't like being outside of my room at my parents' house because I just never wanted to talk to them. So like I would just either sit in my room or be gone all day.
Gotcha.
So yeah, once I moved to my apartment, I'm like, all right, well, time to put my big boy pants on. Let's fucking buy an air fryer and figure this shit out. And then and that's when I learned like for the first time how to make something.
And now is your chef skills on cooking chicken 1 to 10? What do you rate yourself?
It's, I mean, it hasn't changed much. I still do, like, in terms of the chicken itself, I think it still tastes around the same. But, like, I have learned how to make a lot more things, but it's just basic bare bones, Like, I don't add
You can survive on your own very well.
I mean, I eat pretty good. It's just, I'm just saying it's not made out of, like, I don't put seasoning on really anything or, like, oils and stuff. Just kind of eat, like, for example, like, yesterday, I think I had, I love to eat kiwi, though. I eat, like, 2 kiwis, 3 kiwis.
You don't make kiwis.
No, I'm just saying, though. I'm telling, because I'm about to get into the diet. So, like, when I wake up, I eat, like, 2 or 3 kiwis, and then I'll have Italian sausage from Trader Joe's. I'll have, like, 2.5. Well, since Aaron's not here, I have all 5 of them.
You click record, right?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
The red button.
Well, now that Aaron's here, I eat all 5 of them. But, like, usually I'll have 2.5, which is 30 or 37 grams protein or something. And then I either have another meal or I work out. But if I have another meal, then I'll have chicken and rice probably. And, like, again, nothing. Like, I do have hot sauce on it, though. I love hot sauce and, like, everything. Red hot. And then, after that, I might have, I have beef, pound of beef with sweet potatoes and corn. I love corn.
I love corn. What
Yeah,
kind of
me
corn
too.
you like? I'm serious. I love corn.
Just the sweet one from Trader Joe's. It's literally just the ingredient list is literally corn, salt, water. I don't know.
Okay.
Just like again, like
Is it out of a
basic.
can or
Yeah, it's out of a can.
can?
And then, but in between. So the thing is, for me, is like I like to eat. This past year, I like got into eating like not as like I really try to not eat as much processed foods. I'm not really concerned too much about like microplastics or anything. I just don't want the foods to be like really processed and like look at the ingredients list and there's 50 ingredients for a chicken breast. It's like what the
Yeah, it's crazy.
so I stay away from that. And yeah, throughout the day, I just eat those things, and I'll have like since I'm on a bulk, like I wouldn't do this when I was just main gaining or. I guess I haven't really cut much, but like if I'm like main gaining, I don't really do this. But now that I'm trying to bulk, maybe once a day I'll have like something processed, like Chick-fil-A, or maybe I'll have like an acai bowl from like the mall, or you know what I'm saying? Like I try to, it's like still pretty clean, but I've noticed when I eat like that, I hate I hate acne, and I don't have any, but when I eat like that, I actually get some pimples, and bro, that like makes me like, ugh, fuck that. So. Yeah, then that's what I do. And then, maybe before bed, I'll just scourge the fridge, maybe eat a yogurt or 2, That's kind of the diet, though. I mean, I don't know what's so silly about it.
So, no. So what's crazy is, like, I used to eat, like, a little similar to you, more than you. But let's bring it back to, like, when you were 17. Thanks, pal. Bring back you were 17. You had a 500-pound squat, right? What were the foods you were consuming? You would tell me you'd eat, like, 3 Oreos, bro. And he made the progress he made, the strength he made on like a diet like that. Like, give me a day. Like, what you used to eat back then?
Well, whatever Grandma made, or Bubby, call her Bubby, whatever Bubby made, or I'd go eat McDonald's, or
See, that's what's fascinating to me. You would eat like 2-3 meals, and not even maybe the third meal was like Oreos or just like some candy or some shit, right?
I have a lunch packed at school.
Okay.
Parents still pack me lunch.
Aaron or your parents?
Parents.
What was lunch be?
Ham sandwich.
Okay. So like what I'm saying is, like for example.
Well, it'd be lunch, dinner, and that's it. Unless my family ordered food, so I'd have 2 meals or 3 a day.
It's amazing the strength and physique you built on 2-3 meals a day, and like think about it, like me for example, even when I was younger, like I was eating 6 meals a day, like getting like 200 plus grams of protein in back then and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like
me and Steph have like a theory about that. My good friend Steph, we've talked about how our physiques when we were like 17, 18 have like a weird certain edge to them, like they look like gear-like or like grainy, along with all the lifts. Like me and Steph are on the same, like if you look at old pictures of Steph, he's like really, really big for his age too, and he was 17. I feel like I've asked Derek about it once, and he doesn't really know. Like he's like, I don't know, maybe. But I just think if let's say you work out for the first time when you're 20 years old until you're 25, I feel like if you work out when you're like 15, but you know how to work out, like I'm saying, like, you know, you're like, you know, like you have the knowledge of somebody who's been training for years, and you train from like 15, 16 to like 20, I feel like you, for some reason, make more gains while you're going through puberty more than you do, like, getting older. Because my physique, like, I can't maintain that at all now, at all. You know, that's the most, like, suspecting era people always bring up. Like, they think I was on SARMs back then and stuff. But, like, I mean, I fucking wasn't. I mean, as if that matters, me saying you were.
That. Bro, I remember when we first became friends, like, I wanted to take stuff because I thought you were on stuff.
But then you go to my house, and then you came over to my house, and you're like, wait, like, fuck, Lexx doesn't take anything, and he really does eat like this.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is I thought about this recently too. Is like I always hear like diet's 80-90%, and like I mean that can be true, but if you have like elite genetics, I feel like 90% is just showing up. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have really elite, I'm not saying I have elite genetics. I'm not trying to say that. I don't want to come off like that. But I'm just saying. I've known people, like, look at Frank, you know? Like, Frank, he doesn't even know what he's up to, and he's just big as hell and, like, shredded, you know? Like, some people just have good genetics, and I feel like you can, if you show up and you work hard and you have a good knowledge upon training, especially when you're going through puberty, I feel like showing up is 90% of the fucking work, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
but obviously, if you have, get the shorter end of the stick and you get really fat easy and you don't respond well to, like, growing your muscle and, like, like you have poor muscle building genetics, like I feel like, you're going to have to lock in a little more. But for me, dude, like, I don't know if it's because I have good genetics or whatnot, but yeah, I could just get away with that. I can't really anymore, dude. If I eat like that now, I literally feel like horrible.
Yeah.
But another thing is when, like, I have my only, or like the only coach I have and I've had for 3 years or 2 years is Joey Flex. Have you ever heard of Joey Flex?
I can't say I have. It
So,
doesn't ring a bell.
Powerlifting guy out
Joey
here.
Flex literally coaches like all the world champions, like Amanda Lawrence, Russell Ori, like every world champion. Like he's like a genius, pretty much. Like when I bench 405, him. Like it was all him. Like 675 deadlift. All my biggest numbers are because of him. And obviously it depends if I lock in or not, because sometimes I just get like, I'm like, man, fuck powerlifting. I just want to like bodybuild a little bit. But yeah, with Joey, he's actually told me like, because when I benched 405 when I was 21, like my diet, like I wasn't hitting I didn't start hitting 200 grams of protein every day until last winter, and this was before that. It was like summer of that year. So I'd eat 100 to like 60 to, if I'm on a good day, like 120 grams of protein every day, and I got up to like a 405 bench, and even Joey was like, "How is this? Like, I don't know how this is even possible." Because he like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like that's what he said to me. I think about that sometimes, like, man, like Joey really thinks like I'm that impressive, because he said he's worked with people and, they do a hell of a lot more. They revolve their entire day around the lift. For me, I'm recording, spending my daily energy elsewhere. Like I'm not eating on target, and I still could get that strong. So I don't know. I've always felt like very strong, like I feel like it's easy to get strong. It's easy to regain my strength whenever I want. And I don't know, but one issue I've always dealt with is feeling frail for some reason. I don't really know what that's about. It's not even like I get injured, but when I start lifting too heavy, like for example, I remember I did a 315 AMRAP, as many reps as possible on squat when I was 17 or 18 or something. I did like 21. And I remember the feeling of being in there. I didn't even feel like my quads were done. Like I feel like I could have done more, but my cardio and my body like was giving out on me before my actual like the muscles that were being used to squat it like weren't. So I feel like when I like get too strong, I almost feel like I have like a weird gut feeling that I'm about to injure myself. Even though like there's no signs of it. I don't know. I feel frail. Like tiny joints are like I don't know, bro. I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, I think my answer, I think that I'm gathering is like, okay, imagine putting 315 on your back, right? Your legs obviously are fucking very impressive. Your quads are super strong. You squat at 500 and they're big. Mm-hmm. So your muscles can last a long time in endurance and strength. But in terms of your core, imagine putting 300 pounds on your back, breathing as many breaths as you did, going up and down, your core probably gave out, which when your core gives out, think about it, you're leaning forward, your chest isn't up anymore. Okay, so that's a great example. So other muscles that had to be, activated in that lift gave out first before your actual legs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I guess touching on something I think is important. Obviously, I guess you could say your diet wasn't the best. You didn't really pay attention to it. You just were having fun. Mm-hmm. I think that's like a key hidden ingredient to people really having good progress in the gym. Like if you're getting good sleep, you're having fun, you're waking up every day. I always got good sleep. Doing what you want to do. I'm not saying the diet doesn't matter, but what I'm saying is if you could be perfect, didn't get much sleep, you're perfect with your diet, don't get much sleep, training's pretty good, but you have a lot of stress in your life, whether that's a relationship, at home, things are going bad. I take the other option of barely eating, training really good, and just having fun. Mm-hmm. I think that person, if you can clone yourself and you put yourself in the other environment I just described, I'd say the person in your environment would thrive. So I think that's something that a lot of people go through life. They're miserable, they're not happy, and I think that shows in progress. They try too much. Another example is just like when people get sick, you have to miss the gym a little bit. You come back, you get really good pumps. You're usually just as strong pretty quickly, and you look back and you're just like, I didn't even try. Like I'm not even trying. All of a sudden, I'm getting better. Mm-hmm. I think that's a correlation of like sometimes doing too much, being too hyper focused on something to where you were just waking up and Joey was giving you, I presume, exactly what to hit, what thresholds and percentage.
Yeah, I'm extremely technical with powerlifting.
Yeah,
But
he would give you a breakdown, and then you would just go and follow it, and then the rest of your day you were just having fun, filming content, doing whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a great. I think it's a hidden gem. I guess you could say.
I feel like I hate explaining or not even explaining. I hate making a statement on training methods because I feel like everyone just has their own ways of doing things. But dude, I've noticed I can't train for example. So this is how I've been training this past 2 months maybe, and I feel like the best I've ever looked by far. I think I look great. So I started doing the bro split, which I've never done before in my life. I started doing the bro split, but I'm doing 2 sets of every exercise, maybe 4 to 5 exercises. So, in just one muscle. I'm not, or if arms, 2, but, right. Chest days, shoulders are shoulders, whatever, right? I'm training with extremely high intensity, really low volume, 8 to 6. Sometimes if I'm feeling myself 12 or I go to failure or whatever. But point is I'm training super intense, high intensity training and doing the bro split. But the thing is after doing it, I feel like my physique has leveled up a little bit from that training. Cause 1, it's a new stimulus to me. And 2, I feel like, it's just like I said, like you said earlier, it's really fun to train that way. I really have been enjoying my workouts a lot, but it is literally impossible for me to get to where I was at before I took a break from powerlifting if I kept incorporating failure training. I can't get strong if I go to failure.
Yeah, it's just training in your body. Yeah,
so that's why I was never strong, Lexx.
Yeah. So literally if people are oh, how do I get strong? It's dude, if you go in on chest day and you go to bench and, even if you did your sets at RPE 7 to 8 and you kept the RPEs low, if you go and hit a bunch of shit to failure, on chest, you're just going to be fried the whole week. You're never going to make progress. When I benched 405, I was benching 4 times a week and I wasn't training to failure any of those days. And I just feel it's so hard for me to pick and choose because I enjoy the bodybuilding training that I've been doing more than powerlifting by far, but I I want to get strong still though. And it's like, I just can't like do it. So I have to either pick and choose. And then when I start powerlifting training, my physique starts looking like shit. Cause I'm like, you know, by the time if I squat and deadlift in one session, I'm not hitting lat pull downs. I'm dipping,
toes.
you know, I'm out. So just like a hard thing to balance, especially with like social media too, you know, you want to look pretty good. I mean, it's not like I post anyway, but on Instagram really much anyway. But if, you know, if I did, it'd be a lot easier now than if I started powerlifting again. So yeah, I don't know. It's just hard to like balance those two things, but you're going to see results even if you're not training to failure, of course.
No,
like,
for sure. But I think
in.
the main thing you said, right? It's just a different style of training. So our bodies are very capable of adapting, and you trained a certain way for a long time. Tendons got strong. You might not look like the bodybuilder that can lift actually 700 pounds, but you're physically moving it, right? Yeah. And then now you have this other more hypertrophy-related training, right, to where you're now volumizing the muscle, training in a higher rep range. So you're seeing development from that because you've never done it, too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think flip-flopping back and forth, there's nothing wrong with that. But then also maybe trying to merge the two, right, to where figuring out, okay, like I want this, like, bro-like split, but I want to have some compound movements in, and then I might hit some accessory work, but it's like maybe higher reps than previously, but not to failure. Mm-hmm. And finding out, you know, you're at the end of the day, again, you're natural. You're not taking PEDs. At least we're telling people that, right? So
we're telling people that, yeah.
Your recovery capabilities are going to be as limited as possible. You are a normal human being in that regard. Most people cannot, if you tax the muscle and you're doing that bro split, go into failure, training with high intensity, it takes you at least 5 to 6 days to be able to truly hit that body part again without maybe it's just because you're not sore. A lot of people, you know, think soreness and DOMS is what determines did I have a good workout.
DOMS?
Delayed onset muscle soreness.
Oh, bro, I knew that.
Yeah, you did. You definitely knew it. But that doesn't dictate whether you had a good workout or not. So it's like just because you don't feel sore doesn't mean I can go lift chest today, right? Yeah. Figuring out when you could see every week you're getting stronger and stronger, and now the mirror is showing that. Is maybe when you're in a good rhythm of saying, okay, every 6 days I could hit chest. Yeah. But I think you just got to figure both out. I mean, ultimately what makes it fun for you, once you start to get bored with the training, your physique's going to follow suit. Yeah.
Another, like, insane take that, like, I genuinely believe in, and that, like, I've seen this shit, like, firsthand. Like, for one, strength does not indicate steroids by any means. I don't even care if you're deadlifting 800 pounds. Like, and you might even look good, but, like, I'm never going to take into account that somebody's strong if it's on steroids. Because, like, dude, I've met people, like, even look at, like, Sawyer. Do you know Sawyer Klatt?
Yeah.
Dude, he deadlifts, like, what? Like, I know he's, like, if I had a gun in my head, I'd absolutely say he's natural. He can deadlift, like, 900 fucking pounds. Like, some people are just different. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are just built different. And if you take being built different with proper programming and, like, knowledge about powerlifting and managing your fatigue well, like, dude, some people are just freaks, like, and that's just how it is. Some people can come into like, dude, I remember the first time I deadlifted sumo, I picked up, I think it was like 515 pounds. The first time I ever tried it. But I squat, my first, like, year of training, like, taking it serious, I'd only bench and squat because I, like, never knew how to deadlift, so it'd bother me. And, like, I'd always, like, be pouty about it. I'm like, I can't fucking deadlift. I don't know how to do this shit. And because I tried conventional and just never looked right. And then I switched to sumo, and it didn't look bad. Like, it looked a lot better than my conventional. I picked up 515 pounds my first time I deadlifted sumo.
I think I remember that one too.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember the videos you said.
Yeah, no,
you can literally be, like, the best powerlifter in the world naturally. You can't be the best bodybuilder, though. You know
you're not going to put on that type of the amount of muscle you have to accrue cannot be legally obtained.
Who's like the craziest bodybuilding physique wise, like, natural that you think is natural that you've ever met or seen?
Give me a second to think about.
He's like, you. No, imagine. I'm like, shit. No, I'm just kidding. He looked at me like he was about to say it. I was like, come on, don't say that.
So I mean, like, a true natural man. I mean, I have a couple of clients like Arlson, very impressive physique.
Yeah, bro. There's crazy.
There's some people.
I'm gonna show you, Lex. Where's my phone?
Right here on the right side.
There's this guy that Kyle used to coach.
Yeah, used to coach. Really impressive physique, and I mean, this kid would not take even like a glucose disposal agent, BCAAs. He would not take.
Bro, he was
anything.
crazy.
He's like the natty.
One day we were training.
Natty.
He was like, Kyle's like, all right, add like a 10 on it, and he's like, a 10? This is like, I only use quarters and plates. He's like, I'm not using a 10 or a 5.
He talks like that?
He talks different. Bro.
A little different, we could
He's
say.
yeah. Right? Very impressive
Oh my
physique.
goodness.
But if you have an eye for bodybuilding, you could tell that it is natural.
Yeah, there's a
They're-
certain like look, you know,
Yeah.
with like
You won't
I
have
don't
that
know.
hardness
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
And then also you can kind of look at most people like inject their shoulders,
Dude.
so it's like
His legs good?
they're not bad. You can definitely find some videos on there,
Yeah, that's good.
and that kid is strong, like
Yeah.
strong.
Everyone's gonna think you're like silly though.
Lying, you mean?
Yeah.
Of course, people. Oh, we don't believe you. But that's the type of person where you take that person and you put them on
So-
something, they have this crazy response, and it's just like, oh, well, I guess he was natural.
So do you think that after seeing someone like him, have you heard the rumor that like Ronnie Coleman's like have you ever seen the picture where like Ronnie's claiming natural and he's like on stage?
Yes, I have.
you?
Yeah, I don't know the exact picture, but I know he
Maybe it was
turned
like his
pro naturally.
first Olympia or something? Yeah, like do you
Yeah.
think that's true?
Yeah, I think I
Oh,
coach some guys,
that's
and
gonna
I
hurt so many
see what
people's
some people
feelings.
take on stage, and like I know a lot of people, a lot of kids your age take a lot more than those Olympians, and a lot of people are just like, that's not possible, because you have the other extreme to where some people, you could look at them, their skin, the way their age doesn't reflect what they actually look like, and no, they're taking boatloads of stuff, and then maybe they have lab work doesn't look very good, but some people have like this genetic response to where they're hyper responders. They need very little and they just grow like weeds. So, and it's unfortunate, but that's the truth, where sometimes it's like, you know, some people just look exceptional, right? And it's just like, I don't know if you play sports or watch sports, but like there's like Derek Jeters, LeBron James of sports, of it doesn't matter how hard you practice, they're just gifted athletes and they work hard. You're not beating them. It don't matter, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
That's just how it is, man.
I'll be.
that's just how it is.
You just
but-
made everybody mad, probably.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to assume people look a certain way from taking something, and I don't know. Most people find out by taking something they still look like shit, and that wasn't the answer, right? So what's the next answer? To try to point to, oh, I don't take as much, let me take more, and then that doesn't work, and now you're 5 years in, and still scratching your head trying to figure out why this person 5 years ago was bigger, but yeah.
Do you think earlier when I was talking about puberty, do you think training optimally and like not even optimal, we'll say like training hard and like having like a good knowledge of training, if you train through puberty like that, you're going to get a little bit better results than you would training later on in life?
I try to think back. So in high school, I was like I didn't lift in high school. I lifted like Xbox controllers and books. Never was in a gym ever. But there were kids that I would like, I guess, idolize or look up to at the time, where I'm just like, you can rest your leg on me if you want. But you can, there were kids I would look up to, and I'm just like, damn, he looks awesome. Looking back, they looked good for 16, 17. And I think there is some type of correlation to where your body's in such a like a sensitive state to whatever you introduce it to, it takes off, whether that be finally training really hard in sports, maybe in the gym, for other people like going down like a drug route. I think your body's like able to just adapt perhaps a little bit more quickly because it's more vulnerable. Just because those kids that lift like that, I can't say they all have great genetics, because I see some of them now that stop lifting and they look like shit. But at the time, I know they weren't taking a lot of stuff, if anything at all, and they looked like very good.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like anything, as you get to come 25, 30, you know, how you, even now, I guess you could look back and know if you ate 3 Oreos, you're not going to feel very good. But at the time, you were good.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could say as I get older, I used to lift 500 pounds squatting like twice a week. I never even thought about it. Now, even prior to this, like, that's going to take me like an hour to warm up if I could even get near it, you know?
Like,
It's
dude,
just, your
that's
body
not-
just breaks down over time. But I think starting that early, there's something, right? And at the end of the day, like most bodybuilding studies and drugs, like, they do them on rats and other organisms that are not human. So it's hard to actually really know what happens. But I'd love for someone to, I don't know, man, take 10, 16-year-olds and like follow them through life versus 10 uncontrolled subjects that don't start lifting until 20, and see if there's any type of correlation, and even maybe blood work that shows like testosterone being high or maybe degrading faster because of it.
With what you said, bro, nowadays, I bet you if they like I don't know, if some organization said we need 10 test subjects at the age of 16 to take a gear cycle for 5 years.
Well, we're talking not even taking gear, just lifting.
Oh, lifting?
Yeah,
Just being in the gym at 16.
My dumbass thought it was gear.
No,
Because he said rat
Of course
studies.
you did, because
he
everyone
said rat
thinks gear.
studies.
Well, because I'm saying, right, so until even taking like SARMs and stuff like that, right? Whether you consider that performance enhancing or not, like it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
No one takes bodybuilders. There's no studies on bodybuilders.
Yeah, it's all in rats.
Because it's not possible, right? You can't isolate this many variables and eat the same way, go through the same life stressors. It's not possible to reflect that kind of testing environment. But it's interesting to say the least.
Because, bro, it took me a year and a half to get to a 500-pound squat. It took me, what was it, 4.5 years or 4 years to get to 605. It's just like, what? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
There definitely is a cap of like a weight a human body can handle, right? Because most people, you never hear them squatting over 1,000 pounds.
Oh, at some point, because they have some problems.
Jamal's deadlifting like 1,000 something at like
I know,
240.
no, but what I'm saying is like, think about it. You hit that, when did you hit 605 recently, right? Sorry.
Yeah, when I was like, when I worked out there, it was like 8 months ago maybe.
Because like, think about it. I don't know. Can you imagine some like 21-year-old, 20-year-old squatting 800? No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that
there's
shit.
some people out there that are powerlifters that are really strong.
Damn. All right, I guess
Do you
screw what
know-
I'm saying.
Do you know an interesting fact I just thought of? I was at Dr. Mike's and he's like, dude, do you know how much like the human spine, like if you rip your spine out and you put it like weight on it, how much it would hold till it snaps? Can you guess? Do you know?
Is it like an absurd amount or is it less than
I'm
you
not gonna
think?
tell you. Just give me your like intuition.
So are you talking about spine like this?
Like, yeah, literally just take your spine. I mean, yeah, like just
Okay.
how much the spine can take until it breaks. Imagine he was capping, but hey, I mean, he's the active release guy. He knows.
Are your knees?
No, like just your spine, like just the bones of your spine. How much your spine can hold.
It probably compresses and get all the different things like there. 5,000.
You?
Honestly, I'm not even sure where to try to give any kind of educated guess because I'm thinking it has something to do with having that support and the disc around it because without them, it would probably collapse without a heavy load at all.
It was 60 pounds.
I'm an asshole.
Isn't that insane that like your body, like everything is just working together like that? Like your spine itself just goes under 60 pounds, but like then, you know, you as a human can just squat like 600 and it's like fine. It's insane.
But that gives an example of, again, why like over time, it's just humans weren't made to have tons of muscle to put ourselves through the ringer and lift all this weight because your body will break down.
Yeah.
I always say, like, when people are young, like, you're pretty indestructible. You don't see many kids tearing things at 18, 19. You can kind of get up. You don't got to warm up. Just do 1 rep maxes.
I still do that, to be honest.
Right. But by the time you're 25,
Yeah.
30, you can,
Oh, it's
I
catching
promise
up.
you'll get hurt. Like, you can't do it anymore. And it's not because you did something wrong. It's just all that wear and tear all those years add
Yeah.
up.
You know that person? They pulling in your driveway? We all looking on.
But yeah, no, I think it's cool. Switching gears a little bit, going back to you, you had mentioned now not posting as much on Instagram and stuff like that. You good?
Trying to see if it picks up the car. It is on your driveway, bro. Oh, no, it's not.
Dude, you just freak. Wow, way to freak me the fuck out, bro. I bet you got scared too.
I
the way
got
you
scared.
said
Why do you
that.
think I screamed?
Jeez.
Crazy.
Because the light turned on. I thought it was pulling up
Holy
here.
shit, bro. You're acting like he's gonna bust through the garage and kill us. Jeez, dude. I'm like, fucking.
Some kids sent fan mail here. You know what else people can send?
That's crazy. Going back to, you had mentioned something a little earlier, not posting as much on Instagram anymore. I guess, is there a reason for that to where at one point you were maybe chasing the algorithm or trying to, I don't know,
I can
catch
give an answer to
traction?
that too, for my own sake.
Yeah, we all know.
I think back in the day, we didn't even know about an algorithm. We were doing it because we wanted to do it. And then once you kind of get in this position, sometimes it just gets kind of sucky.
Oh, I was gonna say like, well, yeah, that's true. But another thing is like now versus when I'd post, like I feel like every post would do really well because I just feel, what I'm saying is like now I feel like you have to do like reels, like you literally have to do like reels on Instagram to grow like quickly. Like, you're not gonna, even if I posted every day, like, I might gain followers, but if I posted a reel every day, I gain like way much or way more. And I feel like, it's never been easier to get followers or become like an influencer. Like, it's just like, bro, back in the day I know I sound like an old grumpy old man. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, hey, the more the merrier. I'm just saying, it's just like, back in the day we had Instagram posts and we had YouTube videos, and that's it. Now you got YouTube Shorts, you got TikTok, you got Instagram Reels, and I like can't keep up with it because I don't really enjoy posting like Reels. I don't enjoy posting short form content, and I mean my Instagram posts do still really well, and people really do fuck with me a lot. But another thing is like I've developed. I don't go outside my house. I've went to a public gym I think like 4 times past 3 months. I just work out here, so it's also like I can't really switch up much, and I don't know. I feel like I'm just not, like, I don't want to take pictures, I don't want to take pictures, I don't take videos. I like posting YouTube a lot. That's, like, fun to me. But Instagram isn't really fun anymore. I feel like you have to follow, like, a certain agenda to gain followers now. And it's like there's just a certain way you need to do things. Right. I don't know. I mean, posting is posting. It'll always be there. I'll gain when I gain. I won't when I won't. But.
So what are you looking to establish now? Like, what is Lexx's brand? And what are your core competencies, I guess, when it comes to what you're looking to craft and where you're looking to take it in the next year or 2 or even 5 years?
Well, I'm posting every day right now on YouTube, and I don't know where that's going to take me. And if, like, I mean, I'm 4 for 4. Like the YouTube Studio list of, like, how good your video is doing out of 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm, like, 4 for 4 out of, like, 10 out of 10 and, like, 8 out of 10. So they're all doing, technically, and they're doing good still to me. Obviously, like, but, when you go from posting once a month, twice a month to, like, every day, you're just going to have less, like, engagement because not everyone's going to watch every day. But they're still doing good. But, I mean, if that keeps doing horrible, I think I'm just going to do it until I get a 1 out of 10. Even if the views drop and it only gets 1 out of 10 because the views drop, like, fuck it. But I'm going to try. And maybe if I'll get in the habit, I'll keep doing it. But, yeah, right now with content and where I'm at, I just feel like where I'm at in my life and posting and my brand and stuff is, like, I just feel like my whole life, even when I'm stressed, is like I just go with the flow. And if something happens, it happens. If I blow up, I blow up. If I fall off, I fall off, like whatever. I don't really like to get too concerned about, like, the whole social media aspect because I feel like knowing, there might be someone on TikTok who's like, oh, you watch Lexx, he's fucking cringy. And it's like the only thing you've ever seen of me is just when I said we go gym like a fucking year and a half ago, right? As if I asked for that to become a trend. I wasn't like sitting there like plotting it. Like it just happened. It wasn't my fault. So let's say I'm cringy, but like I know like the people who are watching this podcast or like watch my videos, like those are the people that fuck with me and those are the people that matter. And I'm going to try to put out for those people. Like when I think about putting out content, it's for the people that actually care, not the people who don't even really know me or anything about me, and then they're going to come from the explore page or the YouTube algorithm and be like get a load of this fucking guy, Right. So I don't know, as far as content goes, like would I like 1 million subscribers? Like, yeah, wouldn't we all? But if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm just posting because I felt a big lack of purpose when I stopped. And I almost fell so far from the tree about posting that I would tell people, I'm like, yeah, I haven't posted in so long that I'm kind of in a position where I'm like, do I even want to do this anymore? And it's like when you get to that point, and you're thinking about it and you're like, dude, I don't even know if I want to really even do social media anymore. It can like make or break you because I sat there thinking that, and the reason was because I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Because I fell so from the tree without seeing results, which is my fault, that I'm like, bro, do I even want this anymore? And I was like convincing myself of that. Now that I've been posting for like 4 days on YouTube, I feel like so much like better instantly because even if my videos aren't doing 1 out of 10 aren't doing amazing, just the fact that I have something to lock into and like I have something, a purpose, and like I'm doing my job, and I almost feel like a piece of shit for that. Because it's like, dude, like sometimes I've noticed I can be like a pussy, I can like complain sometimes. And like I've noticed that about myself and I hate it. So I'm trying to like really like not complain because I feel like anything I'm complaining about is just my fault. I feel like it's just like pussy mentality, like.
So what would you say, I guess, I mean, maybe it's that itself and that mentality, but like you're biggest area of improvement? I don't like to say weakness, but more sense of where do you think you can improve the most in life that perhaps you just lack right now for whatever reason?
Like, where could I improve in life that I'm lacking? One, getting out more. I'm not anxious at all. Like, I don't ever really feel anxiety too much. So it's not that. I just feel like I just, like, got really used to, because remember I used to be super extroverted? Like, super.
Yep.
Like, the most ever. Now I'm, like, not extroverted at all really anymore. So I need to get better at that again, and, like, putting myself out there, like, literally in real life.
Why the switch, though? Were you more extroverted, like, before you were very, very popular? Or when you became popular, you're like, all right, fuck this, I'm now introverted?
Yeah.
When was the switch?
It was just, like, kind of, like, during me blowing up when, like, I've never had so many people have, like, opinions on me, you know, and, like, because, and it's not like it didn't, like, bother me, but it was just, like, man, like, I don't want all y'all seeing this shit. I want my boys to see it that are watching. Like, I don't know. It just made me be like, I don't know how to explain it. I just randomly, I think the gym didn't help, you know. When I got the gym, I tapped into the loneliness. Like, I really love being in here, you know, and, like, but yeah, that's just kind of why I, like, stopped being as, like, extroverted, just because I just, also, like, growing up, you know, like, I just grew up a little bit and realized that, you know, because I was so extroverted that it was, like, fucking annoying for other people.
Interesting. So how does that change moving forward in terms of getting out more? Is it more than just, I don't know, making a commitment to yourself and saying, like, I just want to get to a public gym a little bit more often, or is it something more than that?
I tend to, like, always find a reason as to why I shouldn't go somewhere, like, in my consciousness. Like, if I, like Aaron's like, let's go to the Young LA gym, or, like, let's go to zoo or something. I'm like, I'll, like, think of any reason I can as to why it's, like, a bad idea. Sometimes I'm right, but sometimes I'm just wrong. You know, like, whether it be like, oh, I don't want to deal with people, or like, oh, I don't want to, I'm hitting this today and that gym doesn't have the right so-and-so. But, like, I could get it done regardless. And it's just like, I always, like, I get so in my head that I'm just like, nope, not going anywhere today. Like, I don't know how it happened, dude. I'm like, it's actually fucked up. Also, I feel like I've just been everywhere here, you know. It's kind of, like, boring a little bit. Like, I'm just like, man, you know, go to zoo, go to Young LA gym, go to, I mean, I guess I'm in here every day, but there's just something about this place that's like, you know, it's like my sanctuary.
It's home.
It's like my sanctuary, you know. I feel like the best when I'm here. I have the best workouts, even with, you know, not a lot of machines. But
no, that's interesting, because I think a lot of nowadays you see people trying to, I don't know, get quote unquote like Insta famous, and then they enjoy being out and dealing with that. But I guess at the same time, because you've been around for quite some time already, 6 years, right? Mm-hmm. Perhaps you've outgrown that already to where you are more mature. I
don't even think I ever liked, I think it's cool when somebody recognizes me, but I'm not like, yeah, like, you know, I'm not like, yeah, bro, like, you know me, you know, like, I'm not like that. I've never been like that. And, like, I don't know. I do love when I meet people, though, that follow me and stuff like that. And honestly, though, like, I do, even though I am this way and I might not go out in public a lot on my own time, but for example, when like recently the Young LA block party, I literally, like, tried to meet every single person. The first day they wouldn't allow me because my line was too long and I only had like 3 hours. So, like, hey, like, we have to let the next person in. I'm like, hold on, like, I'm trying to, like, get everybody. Then the second day they were just like, all right, we're just gonna let them do it. So I stood there for like 4.5 hours, and there was some people at the block party that decided to take a break every fucking 15 minutes and didn't give a single fuck about their line, which is just interesting to me. But yeah, like, there's people like that. There's influencers like that. I hate that fucking word. You know, there's content creators like that, and there's content creators like me, you know, because, like, even though I might not, like, go public, like, I'm not, because when I go in public, I'm not like, oh, everyone's going to fucking see me and talk. Yeah. That's not why. It's just because I just simply don't like going out in public.
You're a homebody.
Yeah, I'm a
homebody. You have what you need here.
But when when I do need to be that way, it'll put everything out of me to be that way, and I will be that way, because I will always try to put out the most for the people that fuck with me.
No, that's awesome. I think that's probably why a lot of people fuck with you.
Yeah.
For that reason, you know. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. I thought you had something to say.
This is our longest podcast yet. We got an hour 44.
This is first ever. I made the longest ever. No, but yeah, I mean, do you have any other specific questions you kind of wanted?
No, bro. I know a lot about Lexx. He's my dog.
He's your dog. So you still have the core group, I guess, from Gymshark. You're tight with all of them still, pretty much. Right?
Are you talking about like the people? Like at
Yeah,
Gymshark?
no, I think because
Or are you
I
talking
always
about
think
the
back to that
athletes?
picture I saw when I first saw you. It was
Oh.
like you, it was Anthony, you, James, who else? David. Right? I'm sure Gymshark is the people we're at this week or next week. They're going to try to recreate what you guys started, essentially.
And David, I don't know. He's David, you know, like he's just like I
He comes in waves.
like I fuck with David when he's fucking with me, but then when he's not talking to me, I just kind of forget about him. Like I don't know, because it's just he's just super.
He doesn't leave the house really either.
Yeah,
He's a
he's like
homebody.
me, but like a lot worse.
He's worse than you.
He's also always doing some shit. He's always into something. He's always getting himself fixated on some shit.
Poker. Yeah,
Yeah, he fixates on certain things, but
something unique is the word.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. But yeah, me and him are so cool. Like if he's ever here, I definitely like hang out. Me and Anthony, me and Oliver, we kind of like stopped talking. We're like cool,
yeah.
but like he's just doing his own shit, and I'm doing my own shit, and like it doesn't help that he's in Dubai. You know, like I can't.
Different country, yeah. I mean, I
He's
think
he's just too busy. You know, and like we don't talk much, but I still love that guy.
No, I think the reality is like all of you are growing up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You're not the 16, 17-year-old kids anymore with like no obligations.
Yeah, we're not at our parents' house just going to the gym and like
Yeah,
sharing
you have
updates.
nothing to
We
do
got,
when you're
like-
16, 17 looking back.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, I don't know about when you guys were in school, but they always used to say like, this is like the best time of your life to a degree because you have like, you got to pay for shit, right? There's no obligations typically. I guess you had homework, but you didn't give a fuck about the homework. Neither did you, right? So it's like you had the
I don't
gym
even
and
understand-
friends, right?
I
So
don't
understand
get
homework.
bro. I don't get how you just sit there for 7-8 hours a day and then you go home and you got to do more. Like the fuck, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like so many people, more people would be like more intelligent, I guess, from a book smart aspect and more consistent in their life if they could just go to school a little later in the day and not have any homework. I feel like nobody like I feel like honestly having no homework and just working as hard as you can in school would change the future of like a bunch of people's lives, you know? I don't know.
But then I think there's also like an aspect. I'm just conversating here. I think
disciplinary like aspect.
kind of like think about it. If it's like you doing work, yeah, while you're told to do. Think about like if you went to go work a job, right? You're told to, hey, create this spreadsheet on this, right? You learn it. Now you're at home by yourself. You're doing it. You're in a time crunch, time management. That's like an also learning skill that homework brings for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I didn't have a lot of discipline in like a lot of things in my life for a while, except like the gym. So yeah, I mean,
Same.
I could see both sides, but I'm an advocate for fuck homework, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Same.
Yeah.
I think maybe one more question in my head. Do you have anything?
Nah, dude, my dog. I know everything. Oh, go ahead, ask him
I guess
questions.
before I ask you our last question,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any other questions for us?
How much do you think that natural supplements make a difference in your training or physique? Like, we'll say creatine, or even like, let's say like my joints are annoyed. I take glucosamine sulfate. Let's say like, you know, androgen receptor modulator or whatever. Like anything, you know, like
L-carnitine.
yeah, L-carnitine.
I think there's certain ones that definitely help. Creatine's been around forever. It's the most researched one, right?
Like I'm saying,
I
how
think-
much though?
To get the most out of your body.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't put a percent on it, but I think there'll be a distinct difference in terms of how strong you can get recovery capabilities. So for someone that maybe has like a stressful ass day, taking melatonin or something like that, like versus not, like or ashwagandha, stuff like that, I think it definitely enhances and helps you for sure. So if that's, you know, the environment that you live in, I think it's definitely helpful. As far as like, you know, as you touched on with joints, other than like MSM, like Boswellia, stuff like that, I think is really helpful. So I think it's something when you're younger, like, you know, kids that are 16, 17, I don't think you need to take any of that shit at all.
Yeah.
You know, having a good protein powder, I think for someone that can't like eat very well, or their parents like, or maybe they don't know how to make chicken, I think it's really helpful, right? To have something like that.
I always was doing that back in the day, though. I was always slamming like ice cream, protein.
Yeah, I think that is very helpful. I'm not going to say you can't have a good physique without doing any of that, because I give you that other example that we just gave you, the specimen. But I'd say for the average person, I'd say they definitely achieve the results in an expedited manner.
Yeah.
And they probably feel a lot better.
We just needed a certified opinion on that, because I'm so sick of motherfuckers being like, naturals will do anything but take gear, or they say like natural supplements don't do shit. It's like,
Bro, it's like
when I take natural supplements, I feel like great. Like,
yeah.
My most advanced people, I mean, I give them a lot of natural stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care if they testosterone and any other drug you can think of does not replace things that you don't get from Whole Foods or from a steroid, you know? Having quality fish oil, you know, an EPA gem, something like that. Those all come in.
Yeah,
they come in handy, man, to say the least, on blood work.
I checked out your fish oils you got in your like thing. You should get a different one. A little shitty.
Are you talking about the Trader Joe's one?
I think
so. That's not the one I use.
Oh, you gotta show me.
I got a
He has
different
secret
one.
stash.
No. Okay, come on. No, I just bought those because I was like running low on my main one, but I haven't used them yet, so it's fine. I said I was gonna take my supplements on video like 3-4 days ago. I haven't taken any since. Damn. I'm gonna do it right when we're done. How about that?
That sounds good, bro. I gotta eat a meal when we're done.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I haven't eaten anything today yet. You fucked it.
What? You didn't eat? What'd you eat today? What'd you eat?
Me or him?
Oh, you. It's 10 at night. What'd you eat?
10 at night, bro. This is because of you, man. I would have.
Because of me? I said I was coming over at 6:30.
I guess answer what you ate, and then I have a question on top of that. So what did you eat so far?
What I ate today, I had 2 kiwis, and I had 2 sausage links. That's it.
Like processed ones out of the freezer?
No, the Trader Joe's ones, the good ones.
Okay.
So it was 30 grams protein.
30 grams of protein and like let's say 20, 25, 40 grams of carbs.
Is kiwi carbs?
Kiwi's a fructose. Yeah.
That's cool.
So you can have any meal you want right now. It's a go-to meal. Maybe it's your last supper. What are you having?
Well, if it's your last supper, bro, I'd say something different. Comparing my go-to meal versus last supper. Last supper, I'm dying tomorrow. I'm having a brownie. I'm eating a lot of other things. If you're saying my go-to meal,
Okay, let's be health focused here, okay? When we positive.
My go-to meal, I like to
what's
have.
the go-to meal?
I like to have a sirloin steak with corn, bell pepper, and sweet potato or rice. That's like my favorite thing to eat.
Okay, and if you
I love steak. That's my favorite food is steak.
and your favorite last supper meal, if you could, you know, you're going on a crazy diet the next 6 months. What are you gonna eat?
My last supper meal?
Sure.
What am I gonna eat?
Like if you're going out to a nice restaurant with
I would
Mary,
probably try eating like shit that like is not like Play-Doh and stuff, because you know, like not human consumption. Because I'm gonna die anyway, so I'll eat as much.
You're gonna eat Play-Doh?
Yeah, I'll eat like Play-Doh and like uranium and like a bunch
wax?
of shit, like
Cartridges?
wax. Yeah, like just see how much I can get down and
Dude,
just.
that
like,
wasn't
fuck
what I
it.
expected. What the fuck?
Oh man.
I mean, fuck it. I gotta see what all this shit's about. Like, not for human consumption. I'm gonna die anyway. Let's tap in.
You're gonna eat a barbell. You're gonna eat the weight.
Yeah.
Interesting
Glove
answer
right there.
But that's.
I'd probably get a meal, then I'd have a little side of something like Play-Doh and shit, just to see what it's like. I never eat Play-Doh. You know, you're not supposed to eat it.
No, fair enough. So, I guess any other questions for us? Otherwise,
Chlorine. Oh yeah.
chlorine.
It's like-
I need chlorine. That's crazy.
All right, man.
Bleach.
All right, we're ending it.
If
Here.
it's my last supper.
So
I mean,
we had
fuck it.
one. I guess a little
I'll
tradition.
do it before they get me. You know. They probably would say no though.
You're crazy.
Our last, the last guest we had on had a question. I think they left.
Oh,
For
fuck.
me?
What
Next
was it?
person.
Remember it?
I believe the question was, "Are you happy with where you are in life, with what you're doing, or I guess your daily life? Are you genuinely happy?"
I'm generally happy. Yeah, I think I'm generally happy. I had a lot of issues about it drove me insane when I learned about trying to find out what the key to your justification is. I don't know how to explain it, but when I was going through this big self-awareness arc, I was just no one. I realized no one's ever wrong, really. Because, how can you be wrong? You have your own perception of reality. Unless you know you're wrong. Imagine if you're objectively wrong, but you really, truly, down to your core, don't know it. And if you're not willing to accept that you're wrong, then you can't be. To you, I might think you are, but you're not. So it's but you're coming from your place of justification. So you're well, I'm not wrong. Whether you're saying it out loud or in your head, you're I'm not wrong for X, Y, Z, and this is why I'm not wrong. But then I have my reasons to think someone else is wrong. And it's just it kind of drove me fucking insane because I'm just you have some people, I can think something about somebody and be here's why this person, I've had my own personal experience with them. And I'm here's why this person isn't really, someone I'd want to fuck with. But then that person is I don't fuck with you for all these reasons. And they could list off the same shit that I think. And it's just like, it fucking blow my mind. I don't know, bro. That kind of drove me insane. But like, I got over that because I kind of just realized like, you know, like you got people who are going to fuck with you. You got people who you're not. But like, I don't know. It was just bugging me for a while.
That's crazy to end a podcast on, dude.
Why?
That was deep. That was like the deepest thing we talked about. That was awesome.
No, yeah.
That's good.
That's good. And then I guess you won't know who the next guest is. Maybe we don't either. But we'd like to have a question that you ask that they'll answer.
It could be anything, bro.
Take a second. It's fine.
The question I'd have for somebody on the next podcast. You're going to cut this part if I just think for a minute?
Yeah, we'll
Yep.
cut it, yeah.
All right, let me think.
Grant's got that.
Grant, cut this part because I got to think for a minute.
Take your time.
All right. The next question I have for the next person on the podcast is, I want you to, or are you willing to talk about the deepest thing that lies within you that you've never talked about before?
So are they willing to talk about it, or
Are they willing?
is it like a two-part, like, yes, they're willing and they will tell us?
Yeah, it's like a two-part question. It's like,
Okay.
Are you willing to say it? And what is it?
And if they say no, do you have another question?
No, you
No?
gotta
Fair.
move on then,
All right.
Yeah, cool.
Fair. All right.
Well, Lex, it's
so you
been,
can learn a good chunk of change about somebody.
I think we're almost at the
2 hour mark.
2-hour limit. Maybe cut it down a bit, but it's been quite the pleasure. I do appreciate you taking the time,
Yeah, likewise.
Anthony.
Bro, you my dog, bro. That was good. Good shit.
Yeah. Love you, bro.
You too.
You want to close it out?
Yep.
Tell your friends you love them, even if you're, even if you think that's
Weird.
I was gonna say,
Homosexual?
yeah, but it's not. So tell your friends you love them.
And on that note, thank you guys for joining in on this wonderful episode. We hope it brought a smile to your face. My name's Anthony. That's Kyle over there. We have codes for Young LA. You can use code SIR. And Lex is also part of Young LA. You can use code Lexx too. Thanks for joining in, Lex.
Yeah, no problem, bro.
Can we say Iron Bros on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Iron Bros.
You guys are losers.
Crazy.